Okay, we are live on YouTube, Sports Radio 1766 on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Max here with Alec and apparently guest co-host Mike Broadbent. Kind of came together at the last minute. Mike was going to come on. He was like, what time? And I said, why don't you just come on the whole show? Because it's much easier with three people. And we had a lot of fun with Mike last time and his dog. So we've got a lot of stuff going on today. I've got a laundry list of topics to get to. We've obviously got Rutgers Football Simulated season to get to. We've got Rutgers Football against who'd they play on Saturday? Oh, right. UCLA. Didn't go great. We'll talk about that. We've got USC.
You already suppressed that trauma pretty deep.
I just could not remember for a second. I was going to say like Indiana, but I was like, that wasn't it. And they don't even play Indiana this season. I don't know what I'm talking about. But we've got that. Rutgers basketball. We actually have basketball to talk about. We had a game last week. We're going to do some underrated, overrated today. But the first thing I want to get to, we have the Rutgers Fan Hall of Fame is currently being voted on. And a longtime fan of the Arius Group Pod and longtime just kind of Rutgers media groupie. I don't think he would debate that. Kevin Fine is running for the Rutgers Fan Hall of Fame. And so Kevin put out a video this morning. I wanted to let you listen to the audio from that video first, and then we're going to bring on Kevin for a brief message about his campaign.
Hi, I'm Kevin Fine, candidate for Rutgers Fan Hall of Fame, standing in front of the NCAA headquarters here in lovely Indianapolis, Indiana. Did you know, for decades, the NCAA only had Princeton listed as national champion for football in 1869? I took this upon myself, being much disgruntled by the situation, and lobbied this organization and said, hey, you need to list Rutgers. It's the right thing to do. So after many emails and a little bit of constant, good-natured pressuring, the NCAA succumbed to my will and added us into the record books. It's this type of fanaticism that I will bring to the Rutgers Fan Hall of Fame. So remember, vote for Fine for Hall of Fame. Together, we'll make our wildest dreams come true. This ad is approved by Kevin Fine for Rutgers Fan.
And now we bring on Kevin Fine for Rutgers Fan Hall of Fame. Kevin, you are on Sports Radio 1766. Welcome.
Great to join the group here today, guys. I'm coming in hot off of a campaign stop. I am actually, yes, I live in Indianapolis, but I am in one of the tri-state areas. We just had a great campaign stop at Angelo's Pizza in South Philadelphia. Everybody's hot. As Coach Schiano would say, Philadelphia is part of the state of Rutgers. So we got great support down here, and we're having a great day. We're going to barnstorm the area, let everybody know to follow the campaign on the Twitter at KFine39. We'll be posting the link to make sure you vote. Exercise your right. Let everybody know who should be on the Fan Hall of Fame.
Stuff the ballot box. Okay.
Stuff
vote at night. Vote
right.
Vote during the day. Just like on election day, you vote we all vote a couple of times,
early,
as you know,
and
as many precincts as you can drive to, you put those votes in.
Yep. Now, neither of the times I voted last year, anyone gave me any crap. So just you vote. You go to the website and you vote. Kevin, what is it that you will bring to being a Rutgers Fan Hall of Famer that you think makes you stand out?
I think I bring a kind of a grassroots work ethic. I get my hands dirty. I reach out. If I see that something's not quite right, I put on my Nikes and I get running. And we go after it and we fix the situation. Along with a whole level of fanaticism that you've really never seen before.
And I like that you've said get on your Nikes, not your Adidas, because that's company non grata now.
We know how to subtweet at the Fine campaign.
That's my favorite part.
We have to get, I guess we'll get to the Adidas stuff at some point. We got to talk about that. All right, Kevin, I know you're a busy man. You got a lot going on. You got a lot of campaign stops to get to.
We got another stop. We're heading out.
Okay.
Thanks,
heading out right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Kevin Fine on Sports Radio 1766, letting us know what's going on in the campaign. And go vote for him. Kevin's great. Just always around Rutgers sports. Always has a great attitude, but not in a way that's like aggressive and demands that other people also have a great attitude or the same attitude that he does.
Like certain other Hall of Famers.
Right. So I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that Kevin Fine is a really nice guy. Gotten to know him. I mean, have I ever actually met him in person? I actually haven't, but I've talked to him so much on the internet over the years. And, in the Discord, on Twitter, DMs, great guy. Go vote for him. If he's not in the Hall of Fame, there really even shouldn't be a Rutgers fan Hall of Fame, in my view. So get Kevin Fine into the Rutgers fan Hall of Fame. What is not going into the Hall of Fame at Rutgers is the performance Saturday against UCLA, which I know has been kind of discussed a lot at this point because it's Wednesday. But I still want to talk about it. And I know that you guys have actually already done it. That's one of the weird things, right? You guys have actually already done a podcast about this on Rivals, I think. So you guys did that. Was it just the two of you or was Richie there too? I forget.
On Monday, it was actually for both of them, after the post-game show and the couple of mornings after pod, it was just us.
Right. So you guys have already done this. So these opinions, some of them have already been given elsewhere, but that's fine. I don't really care about that.
Well, I have had things mature a bit. I feel like I can talk about different things that I kind of didn't really think about.
Interesting. Yeah, because you were real like. Nad's not the word, but critical, like real, like this is like the fired up. This is like the worst thing I've ever seen. Maybe it wasn't that bad, but like so with the benefit of some time, like how are you feeling now, Mike?
I mean, I still feel like Schiano, his program, his culture, his messaging just isn't piercing through, and it's like every time we get one area of the team fixed, another one breaks. It's like we haven't had a game all season where all three parts of the team are rowing in the same direction for a PJ Fleckism or just like playing up to the level that is expected. Even if you just look at the past three games, Nebraska defense was excellent, like best defensive performance all season. Offense couldn't do anything. Wisconsin, that was like a burn the tape moment. Everybody played poorly. The coaching was terrible. Decisions were terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then you have this UCLA game. The offense has this explosive revival and the defense, like, you could have trotted out like a good North Jersey high school team, and I think they would have put up 3 scores against that defense the way it was performing on Saturday. It was just they could not stop the same 3. It was like playing against the 7-year-old who's really good at Madden, who just spams the same 3 plays, and they end up beating you. It's like if you do anything other than those 3 plays you're running, like you're playing with like against somebody who just runs with Lamar Jackson, only in a different way, just like spamming it out to the tight end and the running backs. So I don't know. It just feels like how can you see the same play over and over and over as a coaching staff and not stop it?
I disagree. I mean, I agree with the main part of that, which is that the incredulity, I think that's the word I'm looking for here, at the idea of like how
incredulism.
Yeah, but I think it's incredulity if I'm trying to say.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think I just made that up.
Whatever it is, that's how I understand that part of it. But on the other side of it, it's like, I look at that and I look at their inability to cover anybody, and I'm thinking that just looks like guys playing hurt or guys who just don't belong out there. And that this season kind of like people thought they were going to be good. And then they looked pretty good the first 2 games. I know it's Akron and Howard, but they did look like they looked good. Players started to get hurt. And then they started to not look as good. I'm not excusing all of the coaching stuff and the players being in the wrong places and everything, but I refuse to believe that like the coaching staff watched that UCLA, the same game that we watched, and they would run the little thing over the middle that was open, the sideline was, everything was open the entire game. It was amazing. Where it's like normally you say, okay, they're going to take away the sideline, they're going to take away the middle of the field. Rutgers took away nothing on Saturday. Yeah. It was crazy that Ethan Garbers, who hadn't been, so I have a cousin. He's 16 years old. He lives in LA. He follows UCLA sports generally. Hasn't been following the football team as much this year. When I told him they were playing Rutgers, he said, I thought Ethan Garbers was benched. Like I told him what was going on, and he had like 400 yards or whatever. And he's like, I thought Ethan Garbers was benched. That's how bad this guy was. Like this offense for UCLA was, I mean, it was like a Chris Ash era Rutgers offense, right? It was that bad. And even like obviously the first couple of years of Schiano weren't that great in that regard either. But that's how crazy it was. And I know that you want to look at coaching, you want to say they were unprepared, but I look at it, Alec, I'm just like, it was too bad for me to say there isn't a better explanation than they just got totally outcoached and outclassed. I'm seeing injured guys. That's all I'm seeing all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, is Eric Bieniemy, he's a very good offense coordinator, particularly in the NFL. It just wasn't working. And their run game was bad. they had, I think there was like 6 or 7 Big Ten running backs alone that had more rushing yards than UCLA as a team coming into this game. Now, granted, they didn't do a whole lot on the ground. It was mostly through the air, but still, Ethan Garbers had a 4-9 touchdown to interception ratio. He was on the verge of getting benched, I think.
15
in this game,
sacks
honestly.
against him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're right. There has to be something else. And Greg Schiano kind of hinted at it on Monday where it's like, trying to decide if guys that are playing hurt are good enough to go or whatever. I think your other part's kind of right. It's just guys that don't look like they should be out there. Like the one that comes to mind is Al-Shadi Salam, and he's been put into a tough position because there were injuries at times, and he's just been forced into action less than a year after moving position from running back to cornerback, and now I believe Robert Longerbeam is good to go now. I believe he was. I think he played a lot of the UCLA game. But Bo Masco, he played in one game last year, and now he's thrust into the opposite starting role at times because him and Longerbeam and Eric Rogers have both been hurt at times too. So it's just a mix and match of like what's been going wrong for this defense. And I've seen a lot of people wonder why Joe Harris-Semiak hasn't been getting more heat. I feel like he has been getting a lot of heat as people have started to realize with 2 straight performances of the defense getting smoked. But there's just a lot of injuries. Like you're missing your 2 starting edge rushers, your middle linebacker, who's supposed to be the grizzled veteran, the rock of the linebacking core, is coming off of a torn Achilles, which for I think most people are probably in their careers at that point, especially after already suffering another injury. Your top 2 cornerbacks are banged up. Flip Dixon, I don't think, has been fully right for much of this season. And then you got some of the other guys who are healthy. They're still not exactly performing up to snuff. I mean, we talked about it a lot. Desmond Igbenusin on that touchdown run by Ethan Garbers got absolutely juked out of his shoes. And then that just leads to a huge touchdown. So it's just a combination of a lot of things. It feels like Murphy's Law at this point for the Rutgers defense, where if you're not injured, you're not, not playing up to where you're expected to. It's just a lot of bad.
It's one of those things that
his
season
or his career long in rushing was 20 yards coming into that game. That was a 49-yard run. I think where people are most upset is that like Schiano keeps moving the goalposts. Like in the preseason, he said this is a developmental program. He said that all his whole stint, but he was talking about in the preseason how the pipeline is almost all the way full. We have a ton of NFL players on this team, and we're finally getting to the point where I want to be. And then anytime a second stringers come in, the team is falling apart. Take Brian Felter out, the offensive line falls apart against Nebraska. Take Mohamed Toure out of the team, like. The linebackers don't know where they're supposed to be on run fits. They can't cover anybody. Obviously, Tyree Powell's backing them up, but Moses Walker was a high 4-star that we got away from Penn State. He's one of the starting linebackers. Daryl Jabome, a little more understanding there because he was like a no-name Canadian kid who his story's really great, but he was supposed to be this like athletic marvel. But none of these guys know where they're supposed to be on the field, and it's having the defense fall apart. So I don't know. The huge drop off from the starters to the backups is more stark at Rutgers than it is basically anywhere else in the Big Ten, I feel like.
And I don't think that's surprising. I think that we kind of know this, and this actually sort of applies to the men's basketball program too, in that like in order for like the plan to work, nothing can go wrong.
Yeah,
like,
the margin of errors are so.
We don't have that depth. Like a lot of teams don't. Most teams don't have that depth at this point because teams you could just recruit like hell and then you could fill your bench and those guys couldn't do anything. Now, if you're good enough to play, you can go somewhere else. And I'm not even talking about the guys who are going to get 6-figure NIL. I'm talking about just the guys who are going to who can command a good salary elsewhere. They're not going to sit on your bench. Now, that's obviously not necessarily a problem at Rutgers because we're not. We just don't have the depth. And I don't think anyone does. I don't know if you can expect Rutgers to have the depth. I don't know. I don't know. That's the problem is that right now I'm looking at this and it's like, it's almost a little bit like it felt sometimes during the Chris Ash era where it was like, I don't know what to blame, where everything's on fire. Like where are the toxic fumes coming from? The quarterback's not playing well. I actually don't think the quarterback play is a huge problem right now, but he's, that's a little bit a part of the problem. The defense is banged up. The offensive line isn't working well. The receivers aren't getting that open. And it's like, I don't know. Who am I supposed to blame, Alec? I don't know. Who do I blame? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember the Ash era, it was the quarterback isn't accurate, but also the receivers aren't getting separation. So what's the bigger problem anyways? Yeah, I think I mean, to one of your points, I think the offense actually was very good on Saturday. I think Alec played his best ball of the season, even better than Virginia Tech. But yeah, it's just tough to say. I will say the offensive line looked better as well. I think Taj White has taken a big bounce back since he struggled out of the start, which is understandable. I mean, the guy did not. I don't think he was supposed to come in at this point. He came in as as like a swing tackle, and now he's being put in as the starting left guard, which I mean, it's not easy to do, especially when your offensive line development takes multiple years in and of itself. So yeah, they just don't have the depth. It's very tough, especially like Mike has been saying, when you talk about how much of a developmental program and the pipeline is full, and now we're going to start seeing the results of it. Like seeing struggles in the depth, it's not a very good look. And I don't know if Schiano overestimated his depth, or if he was trying to like shield a lot of his guys just by trying to pump them up or what. But I don't know. And I've said this on the night report as well. It's, you really look at some of those 2021, 22 classes, and it's kind of the bad luck and the underdevelopment of some of those, the guys from some of those classes. That those classes are supposed to be the ones that are filling that pipeline and stepping up into those positions now. And now we're seeing why it's so key to hit on those. Now, the last 2 years in recruiting, 2024 and 2025, has been very good, but we probably won't see the benefits of that for, I say, a year or two. 2024, we've already seen some of that already with Ben Black and Antoine Raymond and Kaj Sanders and them. But those recruiting classes of a few years ago getting a lot of misses is definitely a big reason for the part of that. And it's why got to look in the mirror and say, all right, what's gone wrong with the development, and how can we not screw this up for the current classes that have more talent?
Nobody wants to hear about the injuries. Like, fans don't want to hear that. And I think Schiano even mentioned that in his post-game press conference, that like nobody wants to hear that. But I think it's that simple. I think football really can be that simple sometimes, where like, I don't think the loss Saturday necessarily required a large-scale fan meltdown where the people who didn't want to hire Greg Schiano in the first place had to come out of the woodwork and start saying all that stuff. I'm not saying that. I never believed that this team was going to win more than 7 games. I look at all of the coin flip games and I thought, okay, they'll win half the coin flip games and win, maybe they'll win a game they shouldn't, maybe they'll lose a game that they should win. But I thought 7 wins. I'm looking at this and I know they're 4-3. I understand that the construct of football says, okay, the season's over, not going to the playoff. The Rutgers is 4-3. They get to 6. I think fans will calm down a little bit. I think people will step back and say, like, Mohamed Toure out, Powell playing hurt, Rogers playing hurt. Let's see, you've got Longer Beam's been playing hurt. Who am I missing? Wesley Bailey's been out. Aaron Lewis is now out. Who am I missing? I feel like I've mentioned every good player on the defense. They've all either missed time or are playing, legitimately injured. Not one of those things where like everybody's banged up. People like say, oh, everybody's banged up, everybody's got injuries. But it seems that like all of the good defensive players are either out or playing with some kind of serious injury. And this is another aside, but it makes it really difficult to talk about this stuff because we're not allowed to know who's hurt and who's not. Like, we're not allowed to have detailed information on how hurt guys are. We're not allowed to know what the injury is, right?
And there seems to be no ramifications.
Upper body, and then like people will report on it. And like, I don't even know that's one of the funny things that happens with college sports information. I don't even know what's like public and what's not. I don't even know. I don't know what the injuries are, but I'm sure people have mentioned like what injury a guy has, but I don't even know if that's necessarily been reported. Like, I have no idea how hurt guys are. It makes it so hard to analyze any of this stuff because I have no idea. I don't know. Football's hard. That's why I like basketball. Way easier to analyze.
Yeah, with like the NFL, they have to give detailed injury reports because, one, the whole league is kind of like always been built around gambling, and those availability or the injury reports are purely for that. And I think college is starting to adapt that, but there's no ramifications if you lie on that, like you saw with UCLA 2 weeks ago. I do want to push back a little bit on, we are injured, but if you look at the last 2 teams we lost to, UCLA's injury report for Saturday, they had 20 guys listed as out. Wisconsin, they were without their starting quarterback, their starting running back, their leading receiver, their best defensive lineman, and their best safety against us. And they beat us at home by 35 points. So I personally do not, and those are teams, Deshaun Foster's in his first year with that program, and Luke Fickle's in his second year with that program. So like, for them to come in and just outclass us in, if not all the ways, all of the aspects of a football game, if not, just large portions of it. It just doesn't I don't know. The narrative doesn't really fit for me.
Yeah, no, that part's fair. Like you have to expect them to do more when they're injured. You can't just be like they're hurt and they can't play anymore. Like they have to be able to play better. But another part where I don't know how to analyze this, and then it comes in with like the depth and all that stuff. How much NIL does each team have? How much, like, what are the salary? Like, what can we do? Can we look at like the EA college football, like, rankings just to figure out like who the most important players are? I don't know, but like, I would like to know how much guys are getting paid. It's so hard to analyze any of this stuff just because of the lack of information. I guess the moral of the story is Rutgers football needs to play better if they want any chance to keep the fans up on Friday night. So like I've seen a lot of people say like, all right, I'm not staying up for USC anymore. Why not? What are you doing? What are you doing Saturday? Come on, you can stay up. Now I'm gonna fall asleep during the game. I'm assuming, right? I mean, I feel like everyone's gonna fall asleep during the game. I mean, Alec, I know you're a night guy occasionally. Like I'll text you at 1 o'clock in the morning expecting no response, but you'll respond. Do you think you're gonna struggle to get to 2:30 on Friday?
No, I think I'll power through.
Yeah.
I think I'll be fine because I'm usually. I'm 23, so I'm usually up that late anyways, as much as I would not like to admit. But, I think I'll make it.
How about you, Mike? You feeling good about your ability to get to 2:30 on Friday?
Ability-wise, totally feel like I could do it. Will the will be there is the better question. Like, if Rutgers is just getting dog walked by USC, I'm just going to go to sleep. Like, we're not doing a post-game show after the game. Sorry to break
why not?
Everyone's hearts here. If they win, maybe I'll leave the small possibility out there for the sickos who are up at 3:30 that want to.
You guys,
hear what we have to say.
It was Alec and Richie, I think, after the Washington game. It was 1:30 in the morning, and 200 people were watching, or whatever, 12, whatever time. I think it was 1:30, and you guys had people will stay up till 3:30 to watch you guys if you do that. Like people will be there.
I just if we lose 42-10, and it's 3:30 in the morning, like I just. Personally, like I put too much into the team, I think, to sometimes like feel like I can do it. Like I think I do a good job of not like letting the inner Dennis Reynolds rage out sometimes, but it's there. It seeds and it kind of permeates. And so it's just really hard to like without like a little bit of time behind some things to kind of talk about a loss, especially.
So as far as the other people out there listening, trying to figure out, are you going to stay up? I mean, you could drink coffee, right? What I would do is normally I would try to fall asleep maybe around like 9, maybe get a little nap in from like 9 to 11. But in my infinite wisdom, and I didn't realize this as I was doing it. So I've got a high school football broadcast on Central Jersey Sports Radio as the 5th fill-in play-by-play guy. Alec,
I believe you're filling in for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alec, and then whoever else Mike Pavlichko tried to get before he got down the list to me. So I'll be back on the air with Mike Pavlichko. We did games on WCTC for about a decade together. We'll be at Colonia, so I got that. Then I've got the Rutgers game at 11. Then I'm doing stats for Notre Dame radio for the Notre Dame Navy game at MetLife at noon. I don't know why I agreed to do all of this. I don't know when I'm going to sleep exactly because I have to get to MetLife early. So I don't know. I don't know what my plan is for this game. I will probably fall asleep by accident during it, would be my guess. I'll try to make it, but I'm guessing I'll fall asleep like late second quarter would be my guess.
Can you just as a side note, like as somebody who does stats for a game, can you talk us through like how that actually gets brought into the broadcast? Like if something happens, do you immediately like start rapidly like going through spreadsheets to like give the announcers a useful nugget, or is that all kind of laid out on like a spreadsheet that you can just reference during the game?
So the basic thing here, it's a good question. Is that so? I have the basic thing I have to get is like who made the tackle is like the number one thing. Who made the tackle? If there's a fumble, who recovered it? I have a computer, or I had a computer. I was the spotter and statistician for Rutgers football for 13 years. I'm not anymore. I'd have a computer. I would have another screen that I would duplicate the screen onto, and I had a whole program that I wrote that basically you click on if I knew this question was coming, I could have it prepared and show you. Basically, it's kind of like just like a regular looking chart on a computer that it's interactive and I can click on the computer, and I click on like Ethan Kaliak-Manis and his name will then pop up really big on the screen to show that he's done something. Statistical stuff, just have the game notes nearby to look stuff up. But basically just a computer screen, and I type stuff on it, and Carlin either says it or he doesn't, and that's it. That was it for a long time.
So
I think I do it differently than most people. I don't think most people have like the computer screen. I think they like write stuff down, but the computer's a lot easier.
One follow-up, and then we can move on. Like, what happens if, like, say Wesley Bailey gets 2 safeties in one game? Like, then you're like trying to think, like, has anyone ever gotten 2 safeties in a game for Rutgers? Like, where do you find that?
That is a great question. And it's that situation where situationally that's hard because you really can't confirm that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of frantic looking through the media guide. If you look in the back of the media guide, there's like, the all-time series against various teams, flipping quickly through that. But yeah, sometimes it's just like, I'm not even doing the play-by-play spotting where it's like, I have to confirm whether or not this thing has happened before. And then there's just a frantic internet searches. Sometimes you ask people who might know. But yeah, it's kind of on the fly, and sometimes you got to figure stuff like that out. I had a question for you, actually, that I think a lot of people who have been maybe listening to you or consuming whatever you were doing over time. What is Broadbent? It's one of the most unique last names I've ever heard. What is a Broadbent? Because I've never heard that last name before.
So Broadbent is English. There's a famous actor, James Broadbent, who's in like the Harry Potter series and things like that. It's actually, I don't really know a ton about it, to be totally honest. It's not my family's original last name. That's like a story for another day. My probably great grandfather was, the original last name was Murray, and then he came over with his mom. He had like a brother whose last name was Murray as well, because his father died. He was adopted by a Broadbent, and then he took his name. So that's kind of where the lineage picked up for me. But I don't know. I know that there's a Rutgers Hall of Famer, like a center with the last name of Broadbent. A lot of people have asked me, am I related? We are not related. So just want to put that out there.
All right.
Yeah.
Broadbent, 2 words that go together, apparently. So James Broadbent, he was Horace Slughorn in the Harry Potter film series. I'm not a Harry Potter guy, but I have like people in my life who are big Harry Potter people. So I've kind of absorbed some of that stuff over the years. But James Broadbent, maybe long lost relative of Mike Broadbent. And now we have a little bit more information on the name Broadbent. Is there anything else to get to with football? Adidas is kind of related to football. I'll get to that in a little bit. You had that whole cardigan guy Facebook thing versus Brian Foncesco. I don't know what they were calling him. There was that.
I want to let a message out to Brian Foncesco.
Rutgers Facebook is absolutely crazy. I don't know what's going on over there. So that was the whole thing that happened last week. There was a dress on Rutgers rant, and just a lot of stuff going on there. I didn't really have anything to add to that other than that Rutgers Facebook is wild, and I'm very glad that I am not like a part of Rutgers Facebook. I'm glad that like people send me stuff from Rutgers Facebook and let me know what's going on, but I am very happy with my spot on Twitter and Discord, and I want nothing to do with anything going on any of the Rutgers Facebook pages. That was on that. Basketball. Do we want to talk basketball? I want to talk basketball. Basketball.
I think we all do.
We'll talk some basketball. We'll do that, and then we'll get to the couple other things, Rutgers Football Simulated season, and of course we have overrated, underrated. So Rutgers basketball last Thursday plays that scrimmage against St. John's, or exhibition. I think the final score is 91-85. I believe the final score was. And what a fun night at the rack. Win, lose, obviously doesn't matter. It's an exhibition. In my opinion, that was one of like the 4 or 5 best games we're going to see at the rack. I don't care if it didn't count. I mean, really none of this counts, right? It's all an exhibition. It's guys running around in shorts, throwing balls into a hoop. None of it counts. I understand, but
Nihilist Max coming out early today.
that was a really fun game from start to finish. And the thing, I mean, there's a lot of things I took away from it, but for me, the number one thing is Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper are not shy. They took 34 shots combined, and they are going to run everything offensively. The defense is obviously a mess. My number one takeaway from that game is holy bleep, like those guys play for us. It's crazy. I'm speechless.
So just like I know I think Jordan Ozer's his name posted this, but it was the most media credentials ever requested for a Rutgers home game, and it was an exhibition. So that's just like setting the tone of what it's going to be like. I know that there was at least 3 GMs from NBA teams there to watch the game. Like there was a ton of scouts. It's just going to be like that all season. Like the amount of analytical breakdowns, like there's like big time NBA like draft accounts who are breaking down film from this game and like posting videos, and it's getting tens of thousands of views. Richie put up a video on the channel, our YouTube channel, of just every shot by Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, and it's got like almost 10,000 views already. And that's not normal for his channel. So just like the amount of overwhelming attention that this team is going to get every single game they play is just, I think, hard to fathom.
It's gonna ramp up too, right? I mean, this is just
the
beginning. I can't wait till, because like I'm big into the NBA, and so I follow a lot of NBA people. I can't wait until a lot, like they know Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper at Rutgers, but there's gonna be people like, wait a minute, why does Rutgers have both of these? Like people are going to be discovering this. That this is
we're gonna get some mock draft season in like January, and everyone's gonna be like, where did they come from? And why are they there?
Well, Rutgers must have like more NIL than anybody, right? That's what everyone thinks. They think, Rutgers must be swimming in it if they've got Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper coming here.
Hear like Ryan Russillo be like, I don't know how these 2 Rutgers guys ended up there, but man, can they play?
Sounds like him.
Bill Simmons is going to say something extremely out of pocket about the state of New Jersey. And
he's like, I don't know where they got this all this mafia money or something. These 2 guys are Rutgers.
Didn't have a Bill Simmons impression coming through. That was good.
That was good.
So, I want to give a shout
Sal
out.
Impersonating Bill Simmons.
I wanted to give another shout out to Brian Fonseca, because on the Rutgers rant this week, he mentioned what I like to call bubble ball. And I say that, and I think that Steve Pickle is destined to be on the bubble regardless of the players that you give him. And even this year with Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, but it goes the other way too. I believe if you gave Steve Pickle any 12 boys you found at the barn, he'd figure out a way to get them somewhere near the bubble, because that team last year had absolutely no business winning 4 games in a row and winning 7 Big Ten games. I thought that was just, honestly, I know it fell apart at the end. I really thought that was one of Steve Pickle's best coaching jobs, just to get that team to any kind of relevance, and they cobbled together some kind of defense. And I know that sounds crazy to some people. I really thought that was a great job that he did last year.
I distinctly remember inhaling so much copium, thinking that they were going to go into Mackey and win that game and then run the table, and then somehow go to Dayton again.
Yeah, well, that was the dream, right? Well, I kept trying to get Danny Breslauer. We had talked about wanting to go to Mackey, and I was like, "Oh, let's just do it. Let's go." He's like, I don't know. And then Danny was right. Danny was right about not going to Mackey.
I called that game. By the way, that was when I met Kevin Fine for Hall of Fame for the first time. Actually, the second time. And yeah, that environment, A, was insane, and B, that was one of the single most impressive offensive halves of basketball I have ever seen.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
I don't remember what the score at halftime was, but it was a lot to a little.
It was like 54 to like 32 or something.
Did we lose that game by like 35?
I think it was like 96 to 68 final scores. It was not good. Yeah, it wasn't even like Rutgers played that badly in that first half. It was just they could not stop Purdue. They just kept getting open threes and draining them.
So some things from the game that I thought that kind of stood out to me. The team needs to work on transition offense. I know they put up 85 points, but there are a couple times during the game where the ones I noticed was Jamichael Davis and Jordan Durkak would be on the break and just try to finish themselves. And I'm thinking, can you just look for number 4, please? Can you turn around and can you find where Ace Bailey is and can you throw the ball in his general direction? Because there's this one play early in the game where Jamichael Davis and Ace Bailey are 2-on-1 on a fast break, and I'm like, and I had great seats, so I got in right away when the exhibition seat. So I'm 104A. I'm first row there, center court, and I'm watching this develop, and I'm like, oh my god, Jamichael Davis is about to throw a thunderous alley-oop up to Ace Bailey, and then Jamichael Davis took like a contested 6-foot shot off the backboard. Hopefully they'll work on that. I'm thinking, wow, these guys must have been working on this their whole life. They're about to do an alley-oop, but it didn't work out. I know there'll be plenty of alley-oops, but those guys on a fast break, look up, look for number 4 and throw the ball in his general direction. And he's probably going to catch it and dunk it. And that was the number one thing. Maybe not the number one thing, but that was one thing that really stood out to me, was some struggles in transition. Another thing, and is that in noticing about Ace Bailey, He's going to have some games where he absolutely torches everybody, and he is going to have a 2 of 19 game that is going to really, really bother people because his shot selection, like, he does not care. He will put it up from anywhere. He can shoot over anybody at that height. He'll put it up from anywhere on the floor. I'd like to see him maybe take it to the basket a little bit more, but he's going to have some crazy games. We're going to see we'll see like a 16 of 20 maybe, but we're really going to see a 2 of 19. And this, I just want these guys to stay healthy. That's all I care about. Just stay healthy. Like, win, lose. I just want to watch these guys play.
Yeah, a few things with Ace. He took a lot of shots with way too much time left in the shot clock. I think there was one, the one that really stands out is the one where there was it was like him and Jermichael Davis doing this like screen action, and Jermichael Davis kind of runs the baseline and the pass wasn't there, and Ace stops his dribble, and he's got his feet pointed towards the corner of the end line. And he decides to just take it up, and he like turns his body 90 degrees and gets a perfect form on it, perfect swish. But it's like one of those, no. Yes. But like, he took a lot of shots like that. Like that 3 he took in transition was kind of like that as well.
Oh, but that took the house down though. That was the one that was great. I jumped.
Took the house down.
I did a jump. I literally jumped like a foot in the air when that happened. Cause that was just like, these guys are here.
And the one other big critique is he doesn't get really any shots at the rim. And at his size, with his athletic ability, he's got to get way more shots at the rim. Dunks.
Also, Dylan's going to have to get him shots.
Dylan's going to have to. Yeah. They also, this is on Pickle. They ran way too many plays to Dylan's offhand. Like, they ran a lot of plays to the right side of the court, where, at the end of the game, Dylan lost his handle there and he got, his pocket picked, which ended up being one of the reasons we lost. But, a lot of small things, way more positives than negatives coming out of that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of positives. Definitely.
I will say one thing that concerns me about Ace at the next level. This may not be a problem in college for the 1 year, which I think is what 90% of people really care about. I guess we're going off of what you guys have been saying. It's the like advantage creation where he doesn't take advantage of some of his, his traits, such as his size and his length and how quickly he gets up into a shot and kind of makes it harder than it has to. And yeah, I agree with you guys. He has to get to the rim. Someone has to get him to the rim just to fully take advantage of that. Like, we kind of saw that on his first bucket of the game. He just cuts it on a bounce pass. Dylan Harper finds him and he slams it home. And that's what they have to do. He's going to get his shots. He's going to take his shots. But they have to kind of manufacture some things at the rim for him too, just to even make him even more dangerous from the floor. And I did a 3-2-1 article for Rivals about like 3 things that went well, 3 things that didn't go well, and then 1 question that we still have. And for I guess the big thing that obviously I think people are gonna think about that went wrong was the rebound. They got -9 on the boards. Zubi Ejiofor had 10 offensive rebounds, 10 of his 13 boards were on the offensive end. I think that's going to be a struggle for a little bit, honestly. Manuel Agbole didn't look great, particularly down low. I thought Zach Martini did admirably well, especially considering his size. He's very smart and strong. He's very on the boards, just putting himself in the right spot. He had 3 offensive rebounds in the second half. And then we only saw Lathan Somerville for minutes, so nothing really to gain from that. But yeah, it's going to be a problem. And then the other thing that I think that I said went wrong, they just got gassed down the stretch. Like St. John's, they had, I would say, almost as much roster turnover as Rutgers did in the offseason. But the guys that they brought in were, experienced college basketball players. They have a lot more transfers than freshmen. I think they have like 1 or 2 freshmen on their entire team. And they just got a lot of guys that have that experience already. Like Zubi Ejiofor was at Kansas last year. Just to name one, like RJ Luis was here last year. Kadarius Richmond, obviously we all know, was at Seton Hall last year. So
he had a good time. He didn't have a great game until the end, but he was having a good time. He was really having a good time with the fans. I love that. I wish more guys would embrace that in college. Like let's be a villain here. He
backed up his comments. I'll give him props.
He said before the game, I'm looking forward to a win. I think to start the year, which was funny because he had lost at the rack. He lost at the rack with Syracuse, right, and then he won the next 2 with Seton Hall.
He lost last year to Seton Hall, yes.
That's right. They lost last year to Seton Hall. So he's lost to Rutgers twice with different jerseys on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, maybe you shouldn't have said quite
but he won.
As much. He did win. No, they did win.
And I will say, the 22-0 run they went on in the first half, by the way, awesome. I love seeing that.
Crazy.
kind of got sparked by Kaderi Richmond being taken out of the game with his second foul the first half. And the most impressive part of that to me wasn't the defense like it usually is for Pickle. This is what I said in that article as well. Like we've seen them go on 8-0, 10-0, whatever runs for their for a lot of Steve Pickle's tenure. Like they get those kills. I think Evan Maya calls them. They get a lot of those, especially at home. But the most impressive part for me was the shot making. They went like 7 for 9, I counted, in that run. It just shows like the talent level is completely different. Like PJ Hayes and Ace Bailey had 17 of those 22 points on a great efficiency too. Like that was during the stretch of Ace Bailey's 8 for 10 stretch after he missed his first 4 shots from the floor. So, I mean, that was the most impressive part to me. It's just the shot making in addition to the defense that they were already, putting out there.
I would say my biggest concern with like the Ace Bailey stuff, talking about shot selection, is that, for all of the things that Pickle is good at coaching, defense, they have not generated shots, like open shots for players, generally speaking, during his tenure. And it's needed out by the stats. I mean, there were 300th in offensive efficiency on KenPom last year, which is impossible, right? Like 100's bad if you're a Big Ten team, 200 is unfathomable, and 300's impossible. They don't generate good shots from like the offensive system that they run. And that's just so it's a lot of it is going to be how can they leverage having these guys, and you can can really do a lot if you just hop out a lot of Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, pick and roll. I mean, I would either way, put the ball in Ace's hand, let Dylan set a screen. That's another thing. Dylan Harper is huge.
Yeah.
I can't he's 18. Are you sure? Even his face doesn't look 18. Like he doesn't have like that baby face. Like he looks like a 25-year-old, like an NBA in his prime body. It's crazy how big this dude is at 18 years old. I couldn't believe being up close, like that this guy is this big and this quick, but like just that body. It's just like it's an older man's body. Like it's crazy. I don't have any more words. I have nothing. It's insane how in shape and how big he is.
And I know that Dylan doesn't get quite the same love as Ace for his athletic ability, but the ability of Dylan to guard, especially smaller guards, like his movements are just like mirroring guys so well. Like he had a few defensive possessions where like the guy was just suffocated that he was guarding, and I don't remember who it was exactly, but Dylan forced a couple turnovers. Ace forced a couple turnovers. The one cool, like the biggest play defensively for Ace wasn't even like a block or a steal. There was a defensive closeout he had where he was basically underneath the basket. The ball gets kicked out to the corner, and Ace goes up and has like a really good contest on a 3-point shot, but he moved like halfway across the court. And I don't think I've ever seen a guy jump higher in college than Ace had on that closeout. Like, I don't know if you guys know the play I'm talking about, but it was just crazy.
I think it was beginning of the game, right? I think I remember which one.
I think it was in the first half. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember. The only one that really compares is that viral block that Zion Williamson had against, like,
yes,
Virginia
that's exactly
or something.
what I was thinking of. Yep.
When he sent it like 4th row deep after being in the paint, like when the shot was going up.
I'm a huge PJ Hayes fan. Like I think from what I saw, he was clearly the 3rd best player on the team. I thought on Thursday night that he's going to be really important. He's fun too. Like he's real. Like he's real into it. I thought it was funny. So when he was in the game, the first 4 minutes he was in the game, he did nothing. He didn't have the ball. He did absolutely nothing. I don't know if you guys noticed this. He then he was trying to call a play for himself. Then they call the play for him on that possession. He banked in a 3, and then from there on out, he played fantastically.
Didn't he do like the Jordan shrugged?
He did. Yeah, he did that. He was great, and I think. I don't know if he's going to start. I mean, who knows what's going to end up happening with starters and bench guys, but I think I would be surprised if PJ Hayes does not play among the most minutes in the game. I thought Durkak struggled a little bit, but I will say that I was impressed by his ability to. He didn't get tired. Him and Ace seemed like the only 2 guys who didn't get winded. I don't know if I don't know if there's anyone else who stood out, but those 2 guys, as far as like being able to last the whole game, their fitness seemed to be better than everybody else's. Durkak. And Ace Bailey.
Yeah, I couldn't believe Ace played 37 minutes in a scrimmage.
Yeah, exactly. I think Durkak is going to be real interesting. I think he has a little bit of. I don't want to. This is very like high expectations, so I don't want to put it on him. I think he has like a mesh of both Caleb McConnell and Paul Mulcahy kind of to his game.
I can see more McConnell than Mulcahy. I think
more McConnell than Mulcahy. I was thinking more so with his like work in the middle of the paint for Paul, I guess. But more Caleb in that he always has that motor defensively. He led the team in rebounds. He had 7 rebounds. Yep. Also, he did shoot 1 for 7, so that wasn't great. I feel like if he can make like if he averages like half a 3 made per game, I think he'll be in a good spot. And I think he can get some more minutes because he has that motor and length defensively, where he can also, he's one of those wings that he can go up at the rim with you, and he can also get you on the perimeter too. He had those 2 big blocks. The one huge chase down block in the on a fast break that kind of helped spark that run too. I mean, I really like his game, honestly. I really like what we're going to get from him.
I will say this. I'll say this about Jordan Durkak. If you had that exact same game, but it was Derek Simpson having the game and not Jordan Durkak, I don't know if fans would have been as happy with what they saw. That's all I'm saying. I think Derek Simpson did a lot of good stuff. Remember, defensively, yes. I know he wasn't like a great rebounder, but he defensively, and he did a lot of the stuff that we're complimenting Durkak on. It's just the magic of college sports. New guy, new name. The honeymoon. I guess maybe eventually we won't like Durkak as much, but for now we're on board.
Yes, Durkak he's going to probably have some not great moments because he's not a great offensive player, but I think his motor is going to keep him on the floor defensively. I think a big reason for that is because we'd already seen 2 seasons of Derek Simpson, what could have been, and then what actually was. So hopefully we don't get that with Jordan Durkak. I mean, he'll probably be back next year. I say probably because it's college basketball. Right. Yeah. He has another year of eligibility, I'll say. So if he can be one of those, if he can get a lot of good work this year, he can be one of those building blocks for next season as well.
Okay. 4,200 people at the game. I thought that was kind of disappointing. I mean, for the tickets were $10. I don't know if that was like a marketing failure or just people didn't realize those guys were going to play that much, because it could have been like an opportunity, I think, for a lot of people who maybe can't usually afford it to go and get some good seats for that game and see some high level basketball. So and some people were like, oh my God, 4,200 people for an exhibition. But I'm kind of looking at the grand scheme of, we have 2 top 5 NBA draft picks. I think we need to do a little bit better than that. Anything the players era thing in Vegas changed their format. So Rutgers is no longer not necessarily playing Alabama on Saturday. They still could, depending on how it works out. So it's either Alabama. No, it's not Alabama. It's Creighton. Houston. What is it? Creighton, San Diego State.
Yeah.
Texas A&M and Oregon.
In Oregon, right? So they will definitely not be playing Alabama, actually, right? They cannot play Alabama.
Well, they're playing Alabama.
They're already playing
Houston.
Houston. They cannot play Houston.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
I think the weird thing about that tournament is going to be the tiebreaker element. Similar to how the NBA in-season tournament set up, where the margin of victory is going to play a part. It's going to be weird, having starters up 30 potentially against the team.
But the thing is that do you think it doesn't matter who you play? I mean, are people are they going to care that much about who they play on Saturday? Right. That's interesting.
Yeah, because there's implications money-wise. Where if you win your group, so say you have 2-2-0 teams. Can you have 2-2-0 teams?
You can, because Rutgers doesn't play one of the teams in their group.
So hypothetically, if you have 2-2-0 teams, your margin of victory is going to determine if you win the group, which will determine how much money gets allocated to your team.
Right. Okay. I forgot about that part. Yeah, that's right. So, but if you're I guess if you're battling for second, you're not going to care as much because there aren't any. It's just first place gets the extra $1 million, and I don't know if there's any other. Are there sliding prizes for other spots? I'm not really sure.
Great question. I don't have the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We should look into that. So yeah, because there is obviously it's going to matter at any point the margin of victory, but that could also get really interesting considering the structure of the tournament where Rutgers has to play Alabama in that second game, and NATO. I mean Alabama can go and the way this team plays defense, that could be rough. That could be rough. They could be a triple-digit night for Alabama if they need the point difference to get there. That's actually another thing I want to talk about, the team style, and then what we'll do when get through this overrated, underrated, simulated season. Is this going to annoy? This is going to annoy Pickle, right? He's won a lot of games, 58, 52, and obviously, he's got Ace and Dylan. He's got the team that he's got. But he's going to be a little bit I don't want to lose 91-85. I'm fine losing 51-45. But I don't know about 91-85 and kind of seeing how he responds to this team, because they're not they're going to be, I would guess, the best offensive team during his time here. I would hope at least that they'll be, it's not a high bar. to reach, but I would hope that they would be the most efficient time during his team offensively during his era. The best they've ever done offensively is 72 in KenPom in offense in 2020. So I'm fairly confident that they'll go past that, but it'll probably also be the worst defense of his time, or at least since they started to play well. 53rd ranked defense in 2022, top 10 or top 6 actually the previous 2 years to this one. But I'm wondering just how that's gonna like annoy him, and is he gonna like try to rein it in and try to like mold the team in the way that he normally molds a team? Is Steve Pickle somebody who can he change his style? Like, is he somebody who can amend what he's going to have to, because this team does not have one real traditional center, right? We've had times in the past where they've had 2 with Miles Johnson and Cliff, and then, Cliff being able to play, 30 minutes a game was big. Now they don't really have anyone who you want on the floor for more than 15 minutes, maybe. I don't know what you're going to get from a Bale. So he's going to have to adjust. And can he adjust the way that he plays to really be successful? Or is it just like, all right, Ace and Dylan, I'm going to just whatever you guys can do, and whatever the style is that you guys can play, and we're going to amend it, and we're going to do it. And I think that's the most interesting part of the season. Can Steve Pickle adjust?
Yeah. Is he playing a certain way because he has to, because that's what gives him the best chance to win with, having limited amount of talent? Or is that the only way he knows how to play? I think it'll be interesting, like you said, to see how Steve Pickle puts a team together schematically when he doesn't have to play Moneyball anymore.
Okay. All right. Alec, anything you want to add on Rutgers basketball before we move on?
I guess my main takeaway is, watching in the press box on Thursday night, just thinking this is just a lot of fun. Like, even win or lose, it was a lot of fun. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that this season. And I'm very interested.
Please stay healthy. Like, they don't I'm not going to be mad if this team doesn't make the NCAA tournament. It's crazy. Right? People are going to be like in the streets, but I don't personally care. I just want to watch these guys play for Rutgers. Like, I've been watching this for a long time. I watched Courtney Nelson shoot under 30% from the floor in 2 consecutive seasons back in the mid 2000s. I have watched a lot of bad Rutgers basketball. We've had 2 draft picks in the time that I've watched Rutgers basketball in 20 years. Doobie, and we had Hamady N'Jai, right? Those are the only 2 draft picks that we have ever had in my time. And now we have 2 top 5 picks. Just watching that level of talent for Rutgers is what I want to see, and to stay healthy. I'd rather they miss the NCAA tournament with these guys staying healthy than make it and they get hurt. I just want to see these guys play. So that is that for Rutgers basketball. Let's get to our segment, underrated, overrated. So this is a big thing from the RU Screw Pod that we used to do, where I'll explain the rules in a minute. Let's just get to the open. Overrated, underrated, underrated, overrated, overrated, underrated, Okay, so this is overrated or underrated. Let me explain how this works. I will give a topic, and then you will say whether it is overrated, underrated, or properly rated. It's really frowned upon to say properly rated, but some people like to say that it's properly rated. They like to stay on the fence. It's really, really frowned upon, though. So have an opinion. The first thing that I have here for underrated, overrated is Kids Bop. Now, Kids Bop, for those of you unfamiliar, is when they take songs that are good or popular and they have kids sing them. I think it's overrated. I think it's like the worst thing in the world. I think that they take art, like well-made music, and then they just have kids sing it for no reason. There's no reason for kids to be singing this song. It is banned in my house. Kids Bop, overrated. Alex,
I say
kid?
No, thankfully. I say overrated for a lot of the similar reasons that you do in that lens, but also underrated for comedic value, because it is absolutely hilarious to ironically listen to some of these songs.
Yeah, I'll also go underrated just for the unintended comedy that, hearing some very explicit lyrics softened over by children is hilarious.
Well, that's the other thing. Why does it exist? Like there's the I Can't Feel My Face. That's one of those songs that I've heard on Kids Bop.
Yeah.
I'm like this song's clearly about drug use. I don't care, but like I don't know. This is for like 8. Like, what's the point of having a kid sing this song? You're not taking out expletives. You literally just have like 8-year-olds singing this song. It was sung better. When it was made originally, just play the original song. I just, I would just, I don't know. Like it ruins art. It destroys art. Like it's an art destroyer as Kids Bop.
Also, there's no children clamoring for Kids Bop. It's like the parents who want their kids to be kind of like pop culture aware, but not necessarily exposed directly. It's almost like wearing sunscreen for pop culture.
I do have a friend whose kids demand it. Like they will only listen to Kids Bop songs, apparently. Actually, it's Mike. It's Mike of the Artist Group Pod. Like his kids apparently like prefer Kids Bop. And I would say that if my son, and he loves music, if he liked Kids Bop, I would be very disappointed. In him. Alex, so you have a list. You have some stuff for underrated, overrated. I have more, but I don't know if we can go back and forth. Let me get to my next one.
Yeah. All right, yeah, you can go with it. I mean, I have one to go first. So.
You have one, right, Freddie?
I have one, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, actually, no, let me get it. Let me.
We have a visual thing. I'm excited. We have a prop. Alec is
overrated or underrated. Souvenir cups.
Oh, underrated, man. Souvenir cups are the best. That's a great. Oh, you went to one of the games of the ALCS, right?
I went to game. I didn't get this at game 2 of the ALCS, obviously, because it's Mark Teixeira.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I got this in like 2015 or something. But that was a great time. Great game. Yankees won. But yeah, souvenir. This is one of those like 3D ones where like I don't know if it's going through here, but like the more you move it around, it has like different like it like flips between different things. The more you move it around.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
I say underrated.
Souvenir cups.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, especially when you go to buy those drinks, where it's like the drink is $9, but if you get the souvenir cup, it's like $15. Like, well, for $6, I'll take this cup. So definitely underrated.
I'm gonna go overrated. As a kid, I love those things. I would bring them home, but as an adult, when I have like real glassware and real stuff that costs money, it's like, oh yeah, cool. I got this cup at the game. Check it out. And then you like feel like an absolute tool actually drinking out of it when you're home. Sorry, Alec.
Absolutely false. Mike, how old are you, Mike? How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
I have no idea. You like 30? I have no idea.
I mean, I know how old you are, so I'm not going to guess.
Yeah, I'm 35.
35. Okay, so you're 36. You're like the same age. Okay. Well, because like I said last time, I had never heard of you before. I was like, who is this guy? Who is Mike Broadbent?
Who is he?
Who just kind of like showed up.
Mike Broadbent
on the Rutgers media scene. But you're too good. Interesting. You're too classy for this.
At this point, yeah, I think
cup at home. Interesting.
I think it's just too embarrassing to bust out the 2008 Rutgers football plastic cup that's had like all of its plastic like removed slowly for the dishwasher and looks like you found it in an alley. I don't know. They never hold up.
Nah. Well, okay, like the one from 16 years ago, you should probably get rid of. But like, I disagree wholeheartedly. Actually, there was something on Rivals that I heard that you say that I had to bring up. Underrated or overrated? McDonald's. I say it's underrated. I heard you say on Rivals, you said something like, "Who eats at McDonald's anymore?" Lots of people eat at McDonald's. Billions and billions served.
Yeah, and how many states have E. coli breakouts right now from McDonald's? Yeah, it's incredibly overrated. Like it's everywhere, and it's just like the lowest acceptable like thing above dog food to feed people. Like there's so many better fast food options. Like, and they're never isolated by themselves. It's not like you even like going to a rest stop. If McDonald's is one of the options, there's probably 3 or 4 other options that are better. Like I love fast food. I'm not saying like I'm above it. But McDonald's is like the lowest common denominator of society.
That's insane. Like. That's insane. If anyone from McDonald's is listening, by the way, I would love to be on McDonald's podcast. I will have sponsor. I will talk about McDonald's. I have a once a month McDonald's rule that I have been breaking probably too often. But generally once a month, I'm not one of these like hamburger, like a small fry, 6-piece nugget. I don't go crazy, but I love McDonald's, and I I'm a generally healthy eater. Like I'm not like someone who's going to McDonald's again, like multiple times a week, eating a lot of fast food, but I love McDonald's. I'm like Chad Ochocinco, but he eats McDonald's like every day. We should have Chad Ochocinco on to talk about McDonald's for sponsored content with McDonald's. That would be fantastic. Underrated. Alec, settle the tie here. Underrated, overrated McDonald's.
I'm gonna go overrated just because I think there's better places. I need
more.
I prefer Wendy's in my eyes.
Wendy's is good. Can't deny Wendy's. I got tired of Wendy's at the student center at Rutgers because I ate so much Wendy's when I was in school.
Then they took it away when I was there, so I didn't get to experience
that's right. They don't have the Wendy's anymore. That's sad.
Can I do a tangential, underrated, overrated spontaneously?
Absolutely.
Yes. These branded meals that fast food restaurants have where, I think it was the first one was like the Travis Scott meal from McDonald's. And now they have the Krabby Patty meal. And I know there's been several other iterations of this, promotion, but overrated or underrated these branded meals.
Overrated until the SpongeBob one does seem kind of cool. Like there was like a Travis Scott one. There was Cardi B, I want to say, had one at McDonald's. There was another one. It was Cardi B and someone else at the same time at McDonald's. I say those are overrated, but I did think the SpongeBob one was cool.
I think it was like Offset. I think it was with Cardi B.
Yep, it was.
Yeah, I'm gonna say underrated. I actually went to Wendy's one night after the Yankees game because it was like 1:30 in the morning and everywhere else was closed. And I got the Krabby Patty thing. It was fine. It was like a Wendy's burger, which is fine, I guess, and fries, which is cool. They didn't have the pineapple frosty thing at 1:30 in the morning, so that was a little disappointing. So I feel like my experience is kind of missing out because of that. But I'm gonna go overrated because it's like most of the time it's something that I'm already getting anyways, so it doesn't really encourage me to do it. So I'll go with overrated.
I like Wendy's, but Wendy's is great. I go to the after Rutgers football Wendy's on Route 1. I go to maybe half the time after Rutgers game, stop by for a small fry. That's actually, I don't know if there's other people doing this. I have noticed no matter what time, if it's like 40 minutes after the Rutgers game, it seems like there's a long line at that Wendy's. So my report is that people are going to that Wendy's after the Rutgers football game also. And Wendy's is great. Not McDonald's, but Wendy's is also great.
My problem with it mainly is that they don't go all in enough with these promotions. Like if you're going to make it the Krabby Patty meal, like have the wrapping look like it's from the, have it look more like the meal from SpongeBob. Don't just like make a burger slightly differently than your other burgers. The other big one, was it the Grimace birthday milkshake? I know that's like in the McDonald's family, but there just seems to be it's like pure capitalist, like forced virality where they just like try and like get enough people to like post about it just to get you to buy a little bit more, or maybe have your meal there instead of whatever you were going to have instead. I don't know. It just feels so contrived.
I feel like this is the
capitalism. What forced capital?
It's like this forced virality behind
forced
it all.
Virality of capital. That's like that's good. I like that. Now we're not. It's like Mike Broadbent. That's a Mike Vorkunov kind of thing. Mike Broadbent is now Mike Broadbent. Like he's bringing that attitude. We're going there.
Is this the second time on Sports Radio 1766 we've brought out Comrade Mike?
Wait, what was the first time?
I don't even remember. It was something. I don't even remember what it was, but I feel like we've brought out Comrade Mike at least one point.
I like this. Comrade Mike, the spiritual successor to the fake Vladimir Putin from the Arias Group Pod. Maybe we'll hear from the fake Vlad. For those of you who are fans of the Arias Group Pod someday. I know we have not today. We're not going to hear from Vlad today, but maybe someday. I do see a headline here that says Wendy's should be canceled after that patty meal. Wendy's customer orders bag. And then it was bad, apparently. I'm not gonna read any more of this because it's probably stupid. But somebody said Wendy's should be canceled for how bad the meal is. I'd be willing to try it. And if anyone from Wendy's is listening, I will accept Wendy's or McDonald's. We'll take anything around here. So next thing, pickleball, overrated. I played a lot of tennis as a kid. I love tennis. I like to play tennis. I think pickleball is a great activity for the elderly, but I think that if you're younger, it's okay to get a workout in. It's okay to run around and play tennis. Pickleball overrated. By the way, I'll say this. Anyone who wants to, I've never even played. I played pickleball like in high school, in the high school gym class. I challenge anyone to pickleball. I will pick up a pickleball paddle and I will play against you and I will beat you in pickleball. Pathetic sport, overrated.
I want to know how it became so popular so quickly, because I like you. I remember playing that like in gym class. Like it was not a foreign sport to me. It seems like it feels more like something that people think they invented overnight and then became super popular.
It's easy. It is easier to play than tennis because it doesn't require you to run around. Like it's not that's the main part in which it's easy is that you get to be out of shape and stand there and not really do all that much playing pickleball. I think that's why it's gotten popular. They realize, hey, I can play tennis without all of the problems of running around playing tennis. And also the sport sounds bad and the ball has no pace, and play tennis because tennis is sexy and pickleball is not attractive at all.
I remember seeing tweets where it was like, is this like a money laundering ring or something? Would it be on like ESPN2 during like their mid-August when there's only baseball and nothing else?
I don't think anyone wants to watch pickleball. Like even the people who play pickleball, I don't think they want to watch pro pickleball. I don't think they want to do that. Okay, pickles, overrated, underrated.
Underrated. I'm a huge pickle guy.
Used to be. I'm not as into pickles anymore. I don't know. I'm gonna say overrated. Pickles have gone out the window for me. There's a lot of bad pickles out there. There's so many bad pickles. Like when you get go to like a diner, maybe get like a burger or whatever. That pickle on the side, 80% of the time is real bad.
Well, I believe I talked about this before. Down in Long Beach Island, where I go a lot for vacation at the beach, I got a pickle sub, where they replaced the bread with a pickle sliced in half. It's very good. Granted, I'm biased because I'm a pickle guy. I'm see if I can. I'll see if I can find a picture of it.
I imagine that this pickle bread, like you're just eating this, and pickle juice is just like pouring down, like getting into your beard and pouring down your face.
You gotta be a real pickle slut to eat that, Alec.
I'm not denying the allegations.
If you're of a certain age, I'm thinking of like the Andrew WK album cover where he's got blood all over his face. If you know the song "Party Hard," I'm imagining that, but pickle juice. Like this pickle juice is running down the entirety of your face as you're eating this pickle sandwich.
It definitely gets a little bit messy, but it's very good. Plus, you also don't have to, if you're into that, you don't have to eat the bread. If you're trying to cut down the carbs, you don't have the bread to worry about. So I got an Italian pickle sub. I'll see if I can. I'm still new to this stuff too, so I'm gonna see if I can actually bring up a picture of it.
I feel like texture-wise, also it'd be really hard to like pierce through it, and like the risk of it just kind of like exploding at any point, or like.
All I'm feeling, I can feel the pickle juice in my beard right now. I can feel it leaking out of the sandwich just onto my face, and I can smell it on my face, and it's just not good. I'm not saying the sandwich wasn't good. I'm saying like the feeling of the pickle juice running down my face does not feel good. Maybe they're not like super juicy pickles. I don't know.
Yeah, this is not an ASMR channel that I would subscribe to, is pickle sandwiches. But I'm gonna say underrated. I used to hate anything pickled growing up. I didn't really know that things could get pickled outside of cucumbers, but pickled onions, pickled jalapenos, like pickled, really anything that's pickled, I'll give a chance now, or give a try to as I'm older. I used to hate like olives, but I like them now. And pickles, I think for me, it's like, it has to be prepared the right way. I don't like the flat sliced pickles, if that makes sense. I like the crinkle cut pickles. So I guess it's all about the presentation of the pickles too.
So Alec has gotten his pickle sandwich up here if you're on YouTube. And I feel it. I feel the pickle juice on my face, and I don't like it. The pickles actually do look good. I would like to eat those pickles on their own. I would eat this as like a salad. Like that's like I would deconstruct and eat it as like a salad or something.
That's kind of part of it too, where you're like, it's like obvious, like the stuff is just gonna fall out because it's not the same as bread. It's I guess to make it sound even less appetizing, it's more slippery. So it's gonna fall apart at some point, and then you just kind of give up and just start eating it like piece by piece. That's a part of what makes it good as well. So yeah, salad. I think I would like to eat that as well. But yeah, I got this one from Lenny and John Subs in Beach Haven. Very good place. Highly recommend.
Long Beach Island. A lot of good stuff.
I believe they also have locations in Union and Kenilworth too, if I'm remembering correctly. So
what's the name of it again?
If you ever, Lenny and John Subs.
Lenny and I like have lived in that area for 15 years. I've never heard of it. There's one in Bloomfield, and there is one in Kenilworth. I don't know Kenilworth really that well, and it's not on the main road in Kenilworth. But at Bloomfield and then Kenilworth. Yeah, never heard of this place. But if you want a pickle sandwich, you should try it out. Do you have any more overrated, underrated? I have a couple more. Actually, there's some from the Discord. Let me get some from the Discord because people like suggested them, and then I do that thing where I ask for stuff and then I don't actually like do anything with it, and then I like feel like I'm like lying to people. Let's just go quick here. Gio Rashino, underrated. I think that if you took Gio Rashino and you put him in like a real offense, I don't think he'd tear it up, but he could probably give you 90% of what Ethan Kaliakmanis gives you, which is fine. Like I think underrated.
I think he leads 2023 Rutgers to a bowl game.
Do you think so? Yeah, I could see that. I think that he was underrated. I think that it was one of those things I talked about. Everything's on fire, and maybe Rashino wasn't great, but he, I think, in the right situation, could have been good. By the way, that reminds me. So back when he dropped that touchdown pass against Penn State on the RU Screw Pod, we called that the Fairly Special because it was like the Philly Special, but we called it the Fairly Special instead. So that was fine. Whatever. That's what we called it. And then like 6 months later, when we had Gio Rashino on the pod, I wasn't going to say anything about that. But then Adam, for some reason, he just winds up. He's like, so you know that play, that heartbreaking, like, I don't know how he worded it. But yeah, we called it the Fairly Special. I should actually get the audio because he was nice, but he was clearly not happy that it was brought up, that it was called that, or that the name, obviously, there's this like horrible name for like one of the worst moments of his career happened. But I think he was underrated.
I distinctly remember that 2018 game in Michigan. It was his senior year because he was from Michigan. So that was like his homecoming game and his last career game, being like one of the very worst football games I have ever watched between two teams.
But
he gutted it out that game. Props to him for that.
They lost like 10-7, 13-10, something like that.
It was like 14-10.
He threw. I thought, who was the tight end? Was it? I don't remember if it was.
I remember what you're talking about. I posted that play on like
what's his name? Vokalek. He threw one of the greatest passes of the last like 20 years of Rutgers football. One pass in that Michigan State game. It was an incredible throw. Darted in there. It was the only touchdown of the game. It was, and then they lost, obviously, to Rocky Lombardi. Rocky Lombardi was the quarterback for Michigan State, who is still playing college football this year. He was the Michigan State quarterback in 2018, and Rocky Lombardi is still playing college football this year. That's right. No, wait a minute. He played college football last year. He played college football last year.
Is he at NIU still last year?
He was in North. He was at NIU. He played 7 years of college football, it would appear. So there's that. Gio Rashino anymore. And I'm not going to get to all of these. Hard seltzer. I say underrated. I don't like seltzer, but you put a little alcohol in there, I'll drink it. I think
it's underrated in the sense that there's so much variety now, and I think it's just like a cleaner feeling when you're drinking. Like beer, like can really weigh you down. I've never felt weighed down by seltzer.
Beer overrated to me. Alec, seltzer?
I say a little overrated. I'm just not a fan of seltzer, period. But I agree with you, Max, that like if you like hard seltzer, I think is better than regular seltzer. But I mean, I'm a sucker for the hard iced teas too. So that's what really that's on top for me.
I recently discovered Surfside. I didn't know what those were. I was my block party recently. They had Surfsides, and I'm like, I'm not even a big drinker. I like barely drink anymore, but like that's my new thing. I want Surfsides. If we're drinking, it's like lemonade and vodka. They have iced tea and vodka. It's just in a can, and it is fantastic. I cannot recommend that enough. Surfside. If anyone from you is listening, I would love to take your money and put up a little ad here on Sports Radio 17. Free Surfsides. We just take that, right? We get Surfsides, we drink, we do the pod, and we go. Let's see. Large reusable water bottles. Depends how large. Some of them are too big. You're sitting there drinking out of like, this giant, a large water bottle. That's obviously way too big. So I'm going to say overrated.
I can't stand the people who have the milk jug that they've emptied out and filled with water and just bring it around and like swig it like they're some elitist, liquid drinker.
Real water heads.
Yeah, the real water.
Bro.
Get my 8 cups in, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have Nalgene's. I have like 5 Nalgene's. That's a little bit different from my time as a Boy Scout. So that's, I'm always partial to those. I tried the drinking a gallon of water in a day thing, and I just couldn't finish it. Like, I love drinking water, but I just too much. I couldn't do it.
Anything else I had on the list here? I said pickleball. I said pickles. I said kids bop. What else do we have here? Group Halloween costumes. That's fun. Underrated. I don't know why you'd even ask that. I think that's obviously fun. That sounds like somebody who doesn't have any friends. Who would suggest that? ceremonial.
Be tasteful for it. Like it has to be something that I think elevates just from better than just one of the costumes, because there's just like so many really kind of like vapid, dumb like group costumes you could have that I feel like you just look really, really ridiculous.
What's your go-to Halloween costume? Is there any costume that you wore many years, like when you were a kid? Because I was Dennis Rodman like 6 consecutive Halloweens when I was a kid, because it was so easy.
I think I was Batman like at least 4 or 5 years.
Because I had like several Dennis Rodman jerseys. I lived in Chicago as a kid, so I had several Dennis Rodman jerseys, and like you just put some hair dye in, and you're Dennis Rodman. So that was my go-to as a kid.
The year 2019, his rookie season, I was Gardner Minshew for Halloween.
Oh, that's good. Oh, you got that. Yeah, you got that going. I could see how that would work.
This was when I still had short hair too. This was before I grew my hair out, so it looked even weirder. Like I had his jersey. I got it for like my birthday or something because I like thought he was really cool. And I bought like a fake mustache and I got a headband too. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. My camera roll has a lot of relics in it. Let me see if I can scroll all the way back to 2019 and find it, because this was during his rookie year.
I'll get that when we can. Lincoln Riley, overrated, obviously, clearly.
I think he's been market corrected, though. I think a lot of people know he's not a great coach anymore. Like you have the number 1 pick in the NFL, and you could only go 7-5. Like you piss down your leg the year before when you had like the clearest path to a college football playoff berth in Pac-12 history. He's
good at like banning reporters and fighting with the media. He's great at that. I'll give him that. Pumpkin spice, overrated if it's like outside of October, but it's good if it's like obviously everyone's complaining about this. The pumpkin spice stuff has obviously gone way too far where they're starting to serve in August, but it's good if it's like limited to a certain time of year.
It's so overrated because it's basically just cinnamon, but they charge like twice as much for pumpkin spice for whatever reason.
Wait, they do? Oh, that's good.
I mean, if you go to somewhere and ask for a pumpkin spice anything, it's going to cost more. It's like the girl tax on it.
On YouTube here, we've got the photo of Alec as Gardner Minshew, and he's got the most ridiculous,
comically large mustache,
comically knockoff jersey I have ever seen in my life. They weren't even trying at this one.
I think this is actually a real one, because the Jaguars logos were on the sides. This is like what? I think this is a real jersey, like a
Jaguars jersey.
Wow, that's not a great year for the Jaguars then. Over or underrated, overrated hayrides. Fun for kids, but meh. I don't need a hayride.
It depends on if it's a haunted hayride or if it's just a hayride in the middle of the day where you're just like going through an open patch of field.
Any other ones I need to get to? I don't think so. There's a couple more on here. The Wawa Gobbler. I love any of those kind of Thanksgiving-y sandwiches. What is it? Hansel and Gretel has like a special Thanksgiving Day turkey wrap. I assume they still have it.
I would imagine.
That's always really good. But I like any of those kind of amalgam foods of Thanksgiving. Just put all the Thanksgiving foods on a sandwich and serve it. Underrated.
I love the concept. It's just that the cranberry sauce always throws me off. Like I want savory with the sandwich. I don't need any sweet. Like my sweet will come for dessert. I don't need like as soon as the cranberry sauce hits my lips, it's like this is over. This is not a good sandwich anymore.
I think I know why this Jaguars jersey looks weird, to go back to it, because so the Jaguars jersey is supposed to be like right up here, the top right. I have my backpack on, so that's covering the Jaguars.
Okay. That's why it would look less. It would look less janky if that were the case. That's right.
Yes.
I'll say the cranberry. The thing with the cranberry is for me is that it needs to be like the cranberry discs. Like I don't like the ones that come right out of the can that have like the can marks on the side. Like if you would see the indent of the can. I love the cranberry discs. I think that's it for overrated or underrated. Unless you guys have another thing you want to throw in here. See if I missed any. Overrated, underrated, having a credit score. I mean, if you don't want to like, I guess if you never want to like buy a house or like get a loan, it really doesn't matter, right?
Unless you're prepping,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a renter. I think I have a pretty good credit score. So I don't necessarily. I've never used my credit score. That's the thing. I'm 36 years old. I've literally never used my credit score for. I guess I've applied. I guess, but it was like I never. I guess it's my credit score isn't bad enough to have ever had it mattered. But I've also never like tried to do anything beyond leasing a car. I guess. Oh, I know. I did buy my car. That's like I've never bought a house or like taken out a big loan or anything. So I've never tried to use my credit score. So it's kind of been useless to me. So I will say overrated having a credit score. Bears don't have credit scores, and they seem like they're doing just fine out there.
Let that one sit for a second.
Bears don't have credit scores. That's it. All right. So here's what I want to do. I want to take a quick break. And then we will come back with Rutgers Football Simulated season.
Mama do, do.
All right. So we are actually back live here on Sports Radio 1766. We've got Chet the dog. Chet the dog is back here on Sports Radio 1766. We met Mike's dog, Chet, last time we were here, as I actually have the stream going off in my pocket, so it's making noise in the background. We got Chet the dog here, and Chet is looking great. How's he doing today?
He's doing great. He had a walk at lunchtime. He got to meet some other dogs. And I'm going to take him out for a walk after this, probably, too.
Nice.
Go to the brewery, maybe, for a little, oh, my God. A little after-work treat.
All right, so how do we get this going? So we've got that, and then we go boom, and then we're good. So we have Rutgers Football Simulated season against USC.
Am I playing this time again like we did last time, or was that a massive failure because I blew out Wisconsin?
Yeah, so I think that it should be the computer playing, because I like the idea of being able to, well, I guess I could criticize you in real time as you're playing, but the game, it was too easy, right? Then you played on the highest level. We talked about like raising the sliders, but we never actually looked into that or anything. So I say we just have the computer play it out, and we do our thing.
All right, we'll spectate.
I'm afraid I need to set up my alternate camera.
Yes, for those who don't remember, I did beat Wisconsin by like 30 points in our last Rutgers Football Simulated season, and then Rutgers ended up losing by 30 points. So I guess that was a sign of things to come. Okay. Do we want to do what? I think we usually do like 7-minute quarters.
We can go. What do we do? Why don't we try 6? 6 should be fine.
Yeah, let's go 6. And then I remember last time I believe we did the Excel clock. Do we want to do that again?
I forget why not? I forget how it went, but sure, why not? We'll go
to like 25. So that way it's like it speeds things up, but it doesn't like actively hinder the the gameplay. Do we know what the weather is going to be like in Los Angeles? On Friday night?
Probably 70 and partly cloudy or sunny. Yeah, so be my guess.
We'll go partly cloudy. All right, I think we are just about ready to go.
A very accurate. Never mind.
Oh well, I already started. Sorry, Mike. So I actually know a lot of people that are traveling to LA for this game. Surprisingly.
Yeah, I thought about it, but ultimately decided to save some money in the event I wanted to do a basketball trip this year.
Yeah, that's mostly my thing. My dad's going. My dad's going because he has a conference in Las Vegas. Technically it doesn't start until Monday, but they want him there on Saturday. So he said, you know what, might as well. If I'm already going across the country, might as well.
That's a good call.
Yeah. So
if I had that set up, I would totally go to this game. But
yeah,
especially I imagine your dad probably convinced his company to let him fly into LA as his flight in, and then get a rental car or something like that, and fly out of Vegas.
I am not sure, to be honest. I guess I'll find out when he gets back. He leaves, I think, 9 a.m. on Friday, I believe.
Okay.
Conference in Vegas. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it does. All right, so Rutgers is not getting good field position to start out. I just realized I forgot to take out a couple of starters that are done for the year.
That's just now realizing. We need everything we can get. Just let them play.
That's true.
Let them play. We need it.
All right. I also realized that the depth chart featuring Chris Long and Ian Strong did not save either, so we're not off to a great start there. Kyle Monangai got stuffed.
To Michael Scantlebury.
That's true.
We will get some Scantlebury action. So USC, Neil Armstrong, USC.
A couple of things off the bat. From a realistic standpoint, one, we returned to kick, which is definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
2, that The Coliseum looked full, and it certainly will not be full this Friday night.
Not even
Oh,
close.
it's going to
Not
be
even
a
close.
ghost town because the Dodgers are playing.
Dodgers.
It's going to
Dodgers
be
are
like
playing.
there might be more Rutgers fans there because like they're not more, but there's going to be a lot of Rutgers fans. There are people who live there. There's a lot of Rutgers people in LA and a lot of people traveling, and there's going to be because USC's been bad and the Dodgers play. It's going to be no one there.
Yeah, they've lost 4 or 5 games. Like they're probably as down bad as we are right now, if not worse.
Demir Miller picking up a 3rd and 10. Nice job by him.
Big Ten? Did they win a Big Ten game yet?
No, they came into the season ranked in like the teens, and then they had that big win in Vegas, ironically against LSU, and that kind of buoyed them up a bit.
Right.
They played Utah State and blew them out.
They beat Wisconsin. They do have a Big Ten win against Wisconsin.
Yes,
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were losing, and they were also losing like 21-10 at halftime of that game too.
Yep.
I thought we were about to have a chance to have the dubious distinction of giving both LA teams their first Big Ten win. So I'm glad that Wisconsin got that out of the way. That we didn't have to be that answer to that weird trivia question.
All right, 2nd and 3. Rutgers is actually moving the ball pretty well against this USC defense. I believe the team has left already, or Greg Schiano said that they were leaving today, so I'd imagine they've probably left already.
USC has a
Rutgers
lot
get
of
its first
athletes.
Big Ten win against.
Who did Rutgers get its first? Michigan. No, not Michigan.
Yeah.
Was it Michigan?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was it. God, there's so many athletes who went to USC. It's crazy.
Because they had the chance against Penn State and lost, and then Michigan was the first Big Ten win.
Yeah, but that game was in October. You might.
Yeah, I don't remember. Let me check the
Okay,
schedule.
my bad.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because I also remember that was the year where there was like 3 or 4 like amazingly good running backs in the Big Ten. Like they had to go up against Melvin Gordon, I believe, that season.
Yes.
They had to go against Tevin Coleman at Indiana.
They had
I can still see. Do you remember the Tevin Coleman? He had a 75-yard or an 80-yard touchdown run right before the half. Indiana had trips to the left, and I saw it. I said, "This is a touchdown. They're going to toss the ball to the right." And then, I get a lot of stuff wrong. I say a lot of stuff that doesn't turn out to be right. I saw the touchdown before it happened. I thought he was going to be like a Pro Bowl NFL running back. He was fast, and he just went around the edge. And I think that was a game against Indiana, obviously, but it was a game that was close and then close-ish, and then it was just kind of completely blown out of the water when Tevin Coleman had that 80-yard touchdown run.
That was also at the time where transfers were such a cool little novelty. So UAB decided for whatever reason to get rid of their football program, and Tevin Coleman was the bride of the ball, where he was the big transfer catch, because I think his freshman year he had a 1,500-yard season, and then he goes to Indiana and continues that stretch. But yeah, there was a time period in that season where we faced Zeke Elliott, Amir Abdullah, Melvin Gordon, and Tevin Coleman in 4 straight games.
Yep.
I mean, Abdullah was good too. So Rutgers is driving here, 2:15 to go in the first quarter. Manon guys is taking the ball inside the 40, I believe. Alec, so I had some trivia I wanted to ask you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure what to do with it. Honestly, I kind of forgot about it until right now.
I also forgot to study, so it's okay.
All good. I'm going to start with an easy one. Who has the last 90-plus yard run at Rutgers football?
Well, I know pass.
The last one.
Are we talking running play? Oh, that's tough.
Someone ran for over 90-yard run. The last time it happened, and who it was.
You said this is easy?
Easy's not. It's not necessarily for some people. I mean, some people are just going to remember. I will say that Rutgers. This was a game Rutgers lost. It was a super embarrassing loss. It's probably one of the 5 or 6 most embarrassing losses of the last 20 years. I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, okay. It's also hard to say because some of the for teams that were supposed to be decent, this was a really bad loss.
Okay, well, when you say these things, my mind goes Pacheco, because a lot of embarrassing things happened when Isaiah Pacheco was at Rutgers, unfortunately.
He had that awesome run against Michigan. I think that was
80 it was 80 yards against Michigan. I remember that one. That was the only score they had that game.
Something tells me it's a Janarian Grant end around.
That's
you're getting closer. You're getting a little bit closer.
Can I get a year?
Well, if I give you the year, you're going to get it.
Oh, well.
I mean, I could just
Gosh,
20,
Knicks.
the year is 2010. It's the year.
Oh, 20. Oh,
Oh, is this Mohamed Sanu?
that's what I
It's
was going to say,
Mohamed
because that was like the
Sanu.
Wild Knight year. That was the Wild
At
Knight
his
year.
own back at his own 8-yard line. Got a snap in the Wild Knight, took it 92 yards, looked like it was going to be a great day, and then Rutgers did not score another touchdown in that game and lost at home to Tulane early in
That was my
September.
birthday. I was at that
Oh.
game. It was my 9th birthday.
I was there as
Yeah,
well. It was my
sorry.
senior year.
Oh yeah, I was there. I was there also.
Wow,
I remember I sat in the end zone.
That's
We were all there.
that
Huh,
is-
how about that?
that is kind of stark. It was my 9th birthday, and you were a senior in college. That's crazy.
I had graduated from
Yeah.
college, like at
Thanks
that point.
for really crystallizing the concept.
Wait, Rutgers had the ball the entire first quarter.
Yes, they did. The first
All
quarter
60
just ended,
minutes
and
of it.
Rutgers still has the ball.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? What would Greg Schiano do?
Greg
All
would
right,
have
this is a family program here, but there's some stuff that Greg Schiano might do if they had the ball the entire first quarter.
in Greg Schiano's household, this is called edging.
Well, this was a family program.
Hey,
That's fine. I think that's fine.
Vulgar.
No, that was fine. That was a good medium
right.
between
Second and goal at the 1-yard line. I haven't been paying attention. Well, also I do know off the top of my head the last 90-yard passing play for Rutgers.
Is that Gary Nova at UConn?
No, it was Gary Nova
Wait,
to
is
Andrew
Ethan
Terzilli.
Green?
Yes, Ethan is hitting the gritty right now after a 1-yard rushing touchdown off a read option.
Oh,
It was.
Could you imagine 6-0 Rutgers?
It was Gary Nova to Andrew Terzilli, also against Tulane, but 4 years later in 2014. It was a 90-something yarder. Andrew Terzilli, he also had like a 93-yarder against Michigan in that 2014 game. He was like a master of getting like 90 yards
And
for whatever.
he played in the NFL too, briefly for the Titans, I believe.
He did, yeah.
Rutgers has a lot of weird like hanger-ons with like somehow they had a 3-year NFL career despite like never really breaking
Being
out
like
of
it, yeah.
Rutgers.
16 play, 86-yard drive that lasted 6.5 minutes, by the way, for Rutgers.
Well, like Andrew DePaula played in, he's still in the NFL and he didn't do anything. Like he was, he's a long snapper, right?
Yeah, his most famous play was that USF touchdown pass he threw to Kevin Brock on the fake.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Marcus Cooper, remember him? He played like 7 years.
Oh,
in the
he had-
pros,
He stunk at
He had
Rutgers.
and he
he was
stunk.
bad.
He also had a bad play in his own right in the NFL. He was the one when he was on the Bears, the Steelers, or they were against the Steelers. They blocked a field goal right before halftime. He took it all the way back and started celebrating at like the 3-yard line and got stripped and didn't score.
Oh,
a
that's
touchdown.
right. Yeah, he did have one of those. There should be a YouTube video that strings all of those together because Deshaun Jackson did it. Has he done it 3 times? At least twice.
He
Once
did
in
it. He
college,
did it in
once
like the All-American game when he was in
Yep.
high school.
and then he did it in the NFL at least once, I believe. You're an Eagles
Yeah.
fan, right, Mike? So you might remember.
Yeah, that was against
Um,
the Dallas when he did that in, I believe, old Cowboy Stadium.
Deshaun Jackson underrated, by the way, very underrated. Love Deshaun Jackson.
He is the ultimate. Love him, and you'll like fight to the death if he's on your team, but hate him more than like the heat of 1,000 suns if he's on your opponent.
It's wild how
is he-
how long ago was that? In 2022, he played for the Ravens, and he was 35 years old, but he was still doing that thing where he somehow got behind the defense and got like a 60-yard touchdown or two, even at 35. Man, I mean, he might be able to roll out. Yeah. So in that year with Baltimore, he had one 62-yard catch in 7 games, but he got out there and did it. He's kind of the epitome of he can go out there and give it to you even at age 35.
Also,
year before
USC is marching down the field right now through the run game primarily. They're at the 40-yard line of Rutgers.
Look how unrealistic that way he's carrying the ball looks. That was so like this game, you know what I'm going to say? This game was made poorly. I feel like this game could have been made a lot better. I feel like the graphics are very underwhelming.
Yeah, as
product
yeah,
that isn't meant
they're
to be viewed from this angle too. I think everything's supposed to just be like front facing rather than
Right, yeah.
side facing.
Well, I've mentioned before how it's kind of wild how the simulated games look the same as they looked in like Madden 06. Like they really don't look much like the actual simulate, like when you do the broadcast angle here or whatever. That really hasn't changed in 20 years.
that's always something I'm interested in, like seeing what it's going to be like in the future, where it's like the plateau of graphics in video games, where it's like, how much better can it get? Obviously,
much better
it
do
can
you
get
want it
better
to
than
get?
this.
Right. How much better do you want it to get? Like is the question. I'm not like the actual, like the way it looks is fine. It's just that the motions don't look great to me.
Yeah.
Some of the time.
It's also a thing in NBA 2K as well, where it's like the graphic, like the player graphics, they like look better. Like the 1 year in particular, I remember it was like, wow, you can like the sweat is so much clearer now on the players, which is like, I just don't want to get advertised about VC for like the 80th time in a row, man. Just give me a good basketball game.
Well, so I was thinking with the next college football game. So they have any of those like play a moment kind of things? They don't have that in this game, right?
Oh, like kick six Auburn or something like that.
Yeah,
Right,
like
yeah.
well, they in the old games they would like have like fun like scenarios or whatever where you get to take over. I remember there like the old Florida State wide right. Miami missed like a bunch of like I think they missed a field goal to win 3 times in like 8 years or something.
Yeah.
That was wide right. Anyway, you get to replay that. It would just be like, here's a scenario and you get to replay it.
By the way,
cool. My dream, by the way, this is a dream of mine. This would be great. And obviously it requires it doesn't actually require that much programming if you think about it, because you just need to like program the game situation into the game and then write like a little paragraph. Just individualized for every school, right? You could just take over like the 5 biggest Rutgers moments of however long, and they're programmed into the game, and you get to replay as like Brian Forte in 1990 whatever against Virginia Tech, or you get to be Jeremy. You got to drive Rutgers down the field to get the game-winning field goal against Louisville. That would be incredible if they put that into this game.
Well, the old 2K games. Oh, by the way, we are at the 2 minute past the 2 minute warning, and USC is still on its first offensive possession. They are also at the 3-yard line. The old 2K games used to have, I think it was called like the situation mode. It was like a situation mode or whatever, where you could like customize like when in a game it was, what the score was, how much time was left, who had the ball, how many fouls there were on each team. Basically, you could create your own scenario and hit like a game winner. It was really cool. I wish they would bring that back, as USC scores a touchdown to potentially tie the game. I wish they would bring that back, because in
that shows you how
2K24,
easy it is to like program. It's so easy to like they literally let you make they could just program however many of those themselves that they wanted.
In 2K24 they had like the Kobe mode, since it was like it was like the Kobe edition for 2K24, where it was like 8 different things or I guess spots of Kobe's career, where it was like you become Kobe and like play through them yourself and all that fun stuff. So wish they'd bring things like that to football.
I just feel like there's so little imagination in sports games, because it's just so easy to kind of use the last year's template, add a fresh coat of paint, maybe like buff up one mode, but like creating these modes. Like, do you remember when NFL 2K came out and it was like the big shakeup for Madden, and they had like first person mode, they had like real announcers, they had the ESPN branding and logos and stuff, and it just felt
I never played it, but I do remember it. Yeah.
I feel like because there is no competition for these games, there is just never going to really be true like cool innovation. It's just always going to be this like, for the most part, cookie cutter, templated game.
No, there used to be. I mean, there was like NFL Blitz. I mean, NFL Blitz was a great game. There was NFL Quarterback Club for Nintendo 64. I didn't love that, but that was one of those games. And you're just not going to get stuff. Oh, NFL Game Day for PlayStation, another good game that kind of got lost to history. But yeah, there's no competition for it, so I don't know. There's no reason to not make it this way.
Yeah, it's the exclusivity really sucks, especially with football, because the NFL signed the exclusivity agreement as well, and Nassim Brantley caught it in traffic, and now Rutgers is in a 2 minute drill. Yeah, it's very frustrating, because like you said, I mean, we saw what 2K can, what past 2K can do. The current 2K is a lot different than past 2K. 2K is honestly worse than Madden when it comes to microtransactions, but it's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just unimaginative. Like, even though 2K is very bad at certain things, especially microtransactions, like they at least can put together like a comprehensive like franchise or career mode, basically, like that EA cannot do.
Yeah, I think you've just kind of pointed out that their only inspiration for innovation right now is to make more money. So they'll add more stuff like that if they can get another 5, 10, 15, $20 out of you.
Yeah. Oh, Rutgers moving down the field. Victor Konopka, another person who I forgot to take out for the season, but he just got downfield. Nice.
Miranda Cosgrove, USC, iCarly.
Wow.
Yeah, there's not many famous alums at USC. You probably had to dig pretty deep for that one.
That was just the first act. Yeah, I know. That was the first actor that really, Andres Cantor, awesome sportscaster, USC. He is. Will Ferrell. We have Sophia Bush. LeVar Burton, Trojan.
Nice.
Let's see. As
George
US
Lucas.
Rutgers at midfield now, 2nd and 10 at the USC 49er. Topher Grace, the old Spider-Man, original Spider-Man. Or not the original Spider-Man. I guess the original movie Spider-Man.
Topher
Right?
Grace,
They didn't.
Topher Grace wasn't Spider-Man. That was
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire.
Topher
Grace is the guy from that 70s show who played. He did play.
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
Venom.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You're right. You're right. You're good. You got me. You're good. We have John Wayne, USC. For the olds out there. Shout out to the olds.
Rutgers 2-minute drive stalled at midfield with 52 seconds left. They will have to
honestly
punt.
not as many as I would have hoped.
A lot of famous directors, which for the most part aren't like household names. Ooh, a booming punt here.
We have
11 net yards on the punt.
Wow, an 11-yard punt. Great stuff.
That's I gotta say, Anderson's been playing real well. The punting game for Rutgers has definitely been improved over last year.
Yeah. The one not great punt that he had, or one of the not great punts that he had, I don't really even blame on him. It was the one where they had him like roll out to his left and kick across his body to like put a weird spin on the ball or something. Like, I don't think you can do that with a true freshman, to be honest.
Kira Sedgwick, the closer, USC. What's that? We keep getting like some kind of background noise. Where's that coming from?
It might be me because my microphone is very sensitive.
Forrest Whitaker, USC.
I will try not to move anymore.
All good. Let's see. John Ritter. Let's move off of actors. There's so many people who went to this school. Mark McGrath, Sugar Ray, and I know he hosts like stuff now, right?
One of my really good friends from high school, USC.
Do you want to give like their first name at least? I don't know if you want to like.
Oh yeah. Her. She went to. Her name's Gabby. She went to the USC Film School. She still lives out there. So.
All right. Well, Gabby, I hope you have a terrible night on Friday, Gabby. I mean, I hope your night's fine, but I hope the team loses. I don't know if you care about the team, but I hope they lose. Let's see. We have also. I said Mark McGrath already. Aloe Black, musician. A lot of musicians I've just never heard of. Oh, Flea, USC.
Nice.
I found a really interesting anecdote about Flea recently. Did anybody watch The Wild Thornberrys growing up?
I did.
The voice of Donnie from Wild Thornberrys is played by Flea.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I might have known at some point. That's why
it makes a ton of sense in hindsight, but yeah.
So
there's videos of him like behind the scenes, like doing the voice acting, and they're hilarious. So check them out.
I might have known that at some point, but that is something that I have forgotten since then. Oh, okay. And Eliza Thornberry was Lacey Chabert from Mean Girls. She was apparently her. Tim Curry's the dad. He's a great actor. He passed away recently. He didn't pass away. No, he's still alive.
Tim Curry. He's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
All right, 50,
I'm sorry to the Curry field goal.
52-yard field goal for USC to take the lead at halftime.
Lefty kicker.
And it's good.
Something to note. I don't know if that'll come up, but I love a lefty kicker. Have we had a lefty kicker at Rutgers? I'm trying to think.
Not that I can remember.
Not that I can remember either.
I think Keshawn Griffin has. I think Keshawn Griffin has gotten a sack in every single simulated season that we've done so far. By the way, and he had a third down sack to lose like 14 yards. All right, 10-7 USC at halftime. USC does get the ball to start the second half. There was a total of 2 offensive drives by each team in that first half.
There's so many people who went to USC. It's crazy. This is just a big school that has a lot of people that go to it.
Yeah.
That's kind of analysis you get here on 1766.
I was going to say, I hope we got another replay of Ethan hitting the gritty. I hope we do get one of those.
Oh my God.
Would that be part of the halftime thing here?
I don't know. I don't usually watch halftime in these games.
This is cool. I like this. I wish there was like a little score, like a score bug on the bottom that told us like what situation these things were happening in, but this is still pretty cool.
Oh well, no Ethan hitting the gritty, sadly.
10-7. I can't believe they held the ball for the entire first quarter.
Yeah.
That would also be a fast moving quarter, which for Friday night in this game that we're all desperately trying to stay awake for, is big. That would be big. It would be a quick first quarter. So this game,
yes,
it's 11, but it's 11. I'm guessing it's one of these 11-15 kicks. Probably it's on Fox. It's after the World Series. So it's probably one of those floating. It's probably not 11. It's 11-15, right?
Yes, exactly.
Probably, yeah. If it goes to extras, I'm sure they'll kick it over to FS1.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect it to be a sharp 11 o'clock because the post game show, they're not going to bump any of the coverage for the baseball game for this game.
I wonder. I wonder if they're going to have post game coverage. They might put their post games coverage on FS1. Because if they have a college football game right after that, they're going to it. That's I don't know if the football game will rate better than the World Series, but
no,
it won't be.
Definitely won't.
I don't know what ratings this World Series is going to be watched by a lot more people than usual, but baseball World Series ratings have been way down.
Well, now it's the Yankees and Dodgers, so I'm sure I think last year was historically low.
Well, it was the Diamondbacks who wanted to see the 84 win Diamondbacks or whatever. Who they play? The Astros,
the
right?
Rangers.
The Rangers. I mean, come on, who wants to watch Rangers Diamondbacks? None of those teams are irrelevant to the history of baseball, except for the 2001 Diamondbacks, who I love because they beat the Yankees. And I mean, I would say the team I've hated on the most in my life is the Yankees.
Oh yeah, same.
I'm glad we have that dichotomy here on the show.
I will say this: I don't hate the Yankees as much as I used to. I don't know if it was just because I was a kid. It was Derek Jeter. I didn't like. I don't know what it was. I don't have the same hatred that I used to have. The only team I really hate now is the New York Giants. I don't know why I hate them so much, but my hate for the Yankees has gone away.
Well, because they've sucked for how long? 20 years? They haven't done anything.
I also like their team. I mean, Judge is cool. Soto's cool. I like Garrett Cole. They don't. I don't know. They don't have all the guys. I guess because when you're a kid, right, and you're watching this, I'm a White Sox fan, so I'm watching this these guys just beat my team up every time, and it's I'm tired of Posada and Bernie Williams and all these guys. Maybe I just don't have that emotional reaction to it anymore.
I'm now realizing it used to be so much bigger of a sport too.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
When we were growing up, baseball was the biggest sport in the United States. The NFL probably emerged late 2000s as the most popular sport, but until then, I think it kind of peaked with the Red Sox breaking the curse. That was the biggest story in sports for several years.
I also realized in that last drive, it really went back to the depth chart that the game started with, because Mohamed Toure also got a third down sack.
Works for me. We need all the help we can get. This is great. I would say I see 10-7 third quarter. I
could see the score happening, but not with 2 possessions per half.
I think the schools would have a problem with it, but I really wish they would program the game to make the stadium not full based on the performance of the team. In an exhibition game like this, you're going to make it full, but it would be fun if they the team stinks, we're going to make the crowd not as big.
If you're in dynasty mode, it does actually do that, where it's if your team isn't very good, the stadium will be empty.
Any dynasty you start with Rutgers, game 1, it's because you start off with the kickoff and they'll see the corners aren't quite full. And as you start to win games, they'll fill in more and more. They don't do the Rutgers fill up by the start of the second quarter move, but
first down.
Oh, wow.
Good throw.
See, Demir Miller actually fumbled that, and it bounced forward, and Nazim Brantley fell on it.
Wow.
Heady play. Good play by Brantley.
Yeah. You'll see here, he came over across on I believe it was a slant, and he got popped by the safety. The ball came out, and then Brantley fell in it. So, new set of downs.
Oh, the first, what do you call him? The first man? The vice man. What's the Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman? That's what it's called. Okay, the second gentleman. He's from USC.
Oh,
that's second gentleman.
It sounds so British.
It does.
Yeah.
Is that a name for is that something that was decided just because she's the first vice president, right? So was that I wonder how long ago it was decided that we were going to refer to that as the second gentleman, right? Because we've never had a situation where it was the man was the kind of the appendage to the person who was in office. So I wonder if that's something that was like is it in the not the Constitution, but is it in some document somewhere, or is this just something we've kind of, I wonder if it's been officially decided. I that's interesting.
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
I think in terms of like a corollary term for, lady,
Where did it?
on the opposite side, I don't think there's many other than gentlemen that I can think of.
Yeah, but it's like I'm trying to
Rutgers-
think. I would like to know when somebody decided this, or who decided.
Rutgers just
this.
ran the ball on 3rd and 3, and Kyle Monunga gets stuffed for a 2-yard loss, and now they're punting from the USC 41.
The second gentleman.
Okay, I'm starting to think this game might be more accurate than I was giving it credit for.
Well, that was actually a
better
solid
punt
punt. It
last
went out at the 11,
It's a good punt.
as opposed to an 11-yard punt last time.
And here USC is about to get it almost all back on one play, I'm sure. Yeah.
About 50% of it. Also, Brandon Aubrey did not practice today for the Dallas Cowboys, arguably one of the best kickers in the
We
NFL.
got to find one of those, man. There's got to be an Aubrey out there. There's someone who's just messing around in their backyard and is just like a great kicker. There's got like that. That's one of I love that. There needs to be more of that. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I
He didn't
like
practice.
the whole Brandon
He
Aubrey
didn't
thing.
practice today because of jury duty.
Think of how good of an athlete you have to be to have like never played a sport and then come in and play it professionally.
Man, Jerry Jones is washed me. He can't even get his kicker off of jury duty anymore.
Yeah.
Come on, jury duty. Can anyone but the kicker get away with that? Like there's no way that Dak can say,
Wait,
"I can't
what?
practice today, guys. I got jury."
We're
duty."
already at the end of the third quarter. By the way,
I like how
it
we
is still 10-7.
Yeah, but we're in it. We're in the game. We literally shortened the game. Like we by rule we shortened the game. It's what Rutgers wants to do. I am correct that Topher Grace was in Spider-Man, but I did confuse him with Tobey Maguire. I did.
Yeah, he played Venom, I think.
Yeah, or the character who would become Venom. I know nothing about superhero movies, so that's nothing. So I did like those Spider-Man movies. Next time, overrated, underrated, we'll do superhero movies because I got some thoughts.
Ooh.
I don't have a lot of thoughts because I have never really watched a lot of them. So
too many of them. There's too many of them.
All right. Well, that I don't disagree with.
Calm down with the movies. Let's make some other movies. All right, movie
I
studios. We don't only need to make superhero movies. We can make other cool movies too.
I don't know if I feel that way because I've never seen them, and it's just like I keep like seeing more of them. It's like, why do these exist? Or if it's because I actually want to watch them, and there's just too many for me to catch up with.
Well, they used to have this like unwritten rule where there could only be like one superhero franchise at a time that worked. They had
now there's like
Supermans back in the 70s and 80s, the Batmans in the 80s and 90s, and you had the Spider-Mans in the 2000s, and now that broke. And the X-Men, I'll give you.
It's wild, really watching like those old Batmans. And I'm sorry to anyone who I'm about to insult, but like those old Batmans are like hilarious with like Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and this like comparatively to like the newer Batmans. And I know they have their place, and I know people think very highly of those movies, but like just it's crazy how those stack up against like when Batman Begins came out. And like there are some I do like some. I'm not like totally anti every superhero movie, but it's just kind of crazy the difference between Jack Nicholson in the ridiculous role as the Joker and what Heath Ledger did with the character, and like that those were both really, really big movies. Obviously far apart, but like not that far apart, like 15 years, I guess.
Peak cokehead idea too, because it's like, all right, so we're gonna have Tim Burton and he's gonna direct, and then we're gonna have Prince do the soundtrack, and Jack Nicholson is gonna be the Joker. What do you think?
It worked. I mean, it did well,
but it's just like such
no, the Riddler, not the Joker, the Riddler. I'm sorry. I feel like people are going to come after me. The Riddler. That's Jack Nicholson, right?
No, the Riddler was Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. My bad. Okay. I'm just off. I'm talking too much.
But yeah,
we're going to lose,
was
by
like
the way.
Arnold
USC is driving down the
Schwarzenegger as
field.
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
The Riddler is Jim Carrey.
People hated that movie, right? The one that was terrible with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah. One of the things they always point out is that George Clooney's Batman suit had nipples, like
yeah,
yeah,
the nipples. Yeah, I remember that. Even I never saw the movie, but I do remember. I remember the nipples.
I'll never forget a nipple.
Rutgers really needs to stop here as USC has a 2nd and goal inside the 10-yard line.
If you injected
Yeah,
truth serum into Greg Schiano right now, and you said you're going to lose 17-7 to USC on Friday night, do you think you would take it?
No.
No,
Not at this point. Nah, 17. No one's going to be like, the fans aren't going to be happy with a 17-7 loss. Like, they have to go win this game. Like, they need to win. They need to win. It's not just like go out there. USC's not very good. They need to turn this around at some point. I think to quell some of the fan fears, they have to win the game. It's not another go there and look good. It's win the game, please.
Miller Moss has all day to throw. Oh, okay. Rutgers is going to have a shot here. Oh, well, Wesley Bailey just got hurt, but Rutgers is going to have a shot here.
What would the implied odds be of a 14-point dog to win a game?
What is Rutgers? What is
I don't know what the money line is.
I gotta look up. I just gotta look up the money line. I don't know how to do it.
Am I allowed to take over again and lead Rutgers to a victory, or are we eliminating that?
It's 13-7. If it was 17-7, I would say yes. But if you take it over now, we know you're going to come back and win.
This is true.
Let's see how the rest of this game plays out.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. They do have a chance. I don't know why they're celebrating so much. There's still a whole 1 minute and 51 seconds left, and they're up 6. So this could easily turn. I mean, we saw it a couple times ago where I scored on 2 plays.
There's 151 left. Let's see. Let's see the situation we get into, and then we'll see if we can find a good place for you to jump in. So Rutgers is plus 450.
They're starting at the 11-yard line because Jay-Sean Benjamin had a really bad return.
So that's like 2/11.
Oh no.
18% to win. Rutgers is the implied probability.
Do you feel like that's over or under the actual odds in your head that it could win the game?
I am a professional gambler,
do you think they win it 1 out of 5 times?
I'm just saying. I always want to make sure I'm not giving any gambling advice. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't know anything about betting on games. I will say that 18% feels high. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're more. I feel like Rutgers is like 8% to win this game. I don't have any confidence. They're going to keep it close to be it. Like, I just looked at what I looked at last week, and I did say Lincoln Riley is overrated, but I feel like taking advantage of a defense like this with the way his teams can pass the ball is exactly what Lincoln Riley would do. And it just seems like unless guys can get healthy real quick, or this team can all of a sudden start figuring out how to score 24, 30 points a game, then I don't really see Friday night going well. I think it's under 10%.
Rutgers does have 4th and 13 from its own 9-yard line with 1:16 to go. This is basically the game here.
Yeah, but we're too late. All right, 4th and 13.
Oh, it's intercepted.
Ooh.
Yep. That's how that would go too, just to kind of throw it up along the left sideline. He should have gotten more loft on that one, though.
He should have. Quarterbacks in general, in this game in particular, don't really do that.
Okay, so this game has been 35 minutes long. Could you imagine if this?
Am I allowed to take over now?
If it's 13, sure, why not? If it was 13-7.
I'm like USC, a kid that's asking his parents, like, all right, can I go now? Now?
Let's assume for the purposes of what I'm about to say that Rutgers lost this game. Could you imagine staying up till 2:30 in the morning to watch Rutgers lose 13-7 to USC?
In that fashion.
Because one of the things I'm begging you, okay, Rutgers, if you're gonna lose this game, can you please lose it in a way that lets me turn it off early? You don't have to get blown out, but not like the Nebraska game, which we all knew they were never going to win, but they made it so you had to keep watching it. And then they kind of came back and almost won the game. But still, it felt like they were never going to win. Rutgers, please don't lose 13-7 on a Friday. Lose 31-7 or win. But please don't lose I don't know. Just don't lose. Please don't lose. I don't want you to lose. I want to win. I want to be 5-3. 5-3 is a much better looking record than 4-4. I'd like to make a bowl. And I don't know. I don't really like I don't like the anti-Schiano people coming out of the woodwork as Alec gives up the touchdown here.
Yeah, I was assuming they were just I was assuming they were going to run it up the middle instead of actually bouncing to the outside.
Now they're going to go for 2, just like Greg Schiano correctly did in the early third quarter against UCLA.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one there. All right, we did stop the 2-point conversion. All right, now
not
it's
the only
time
one
to agree. Well, actually, no. There's more people than I thought that would agree with Greg Schiano going for 2, but
Well, I'm just going to say there's nothing really to agree with or disagree with. As you can see, is how the game turned out. They lost 35-32, and in order to tie the game, they would have needed a 2-point conversion and to make an extra point. So they had to go for 2 due to the fact of how the game turned out, because that's why you go for 2, is that the game, football is played in 3s and 7s, and you can kind of predict, you kind of know all of the likely ways in that a football game is going to go. And the logic in that situation told you that you needed to convert a 2-point conversion, and as Alec gets hit as he throws and throws an incomplete pass, you needed those points. And the idea of chasing points is completely made up. I don't know who said it. I don't know where that came from. I surmise that Bill Parcells said it at some point in the 90s, and then it somehow became gospel that you don't chase points early in the game or with some nonsense, because most nonsense football phrases did originate with Bill Parcells. And they had to go for 2, and I thought it was ridiculous criticism. Anyway, USC didn't make that 2, and looks like Alec's going to lose because there's 20 seconds left, and it's 19-7.
yeah, this was not a great showing. To be fair, my right guard just decided to block nobody, and Barrett Alexander came unguarded right up the middle.
The
and
fake Greg Schiano passes the buck. You're passing the buck. It's the right guard's fault. Could you imagine if Schiano did that post game? He's like, actually, it's the right guard's fault.
Yeah. Oh, gee, look at this. Look at the quarters. 17 of the 20, 17 of the 16. Or never mind. Ignore me. All but 9 of the points were scored in that second quarter because Rutgers held onto the ball for the entirety of the first quarter. Yeah, this was that play in particular. I probably should have sent a cornerback blitz instead, but it was not meant to be.
I think next week I kind of want to bring back Alec playing the game, because one of the things I enjoy is Alec's commentary on why he's deciding things in like this video game. Like, it's not just that he's he really lets you inside of his mind and analyzes the playing of this game in a way that I've never considered doing. So maybe getting into the mind of play caller Alec is something I think next week we'll have him play it.
Let's go.
Next week we have a bye, so I don't know if that plays into
well, that's right. Well, we'll figure something out. Next time we do simulated season, Alec will play.
Next week we can bring on the idea of me playing against other people online.
That's right. Yeah, I almost broke down and bought an Xbox, but I didn't. I can decide because I'm kind of getting jealous and kind of want to play this game. But it's also like what Mike was saying earlier, where it's like I don't know if I can like sit down and really play the game for any length of time.
Would I have played against you?
Yeah, that could work. I don't know. I just in general, I was thinking about doing it. But I didn't end up doing it yet. Something I want to say. Friday, the Are You Screw podcast is going to be recording. Adam is on board. Mike might be on board. Danny could join us at some point. So we're going to be the old Are You Screw pod getting together on Friday and recording something. So that's exciting. On the Are You Screw podcast on 1766.
Do you have an outline for what's going to take place? Or
outline? No? Okay, like Alec can vouch for this. The amount that I prepared for this episode with Alec was like maybe like 4 or 5 texts back and forth, and that is way more than we ever did on the Are You Screw pod. So at this point, there's absolutely nothing that we're definitely going to talk about, but we'll probably do Wanker of the Week. We will probably, I don't know. We have a lot to talk about. We'll talk about basketball. We'll talk about, I don't know. We got opening night coming up. I know we're all going to opening night. Mike, what's your situation with Rutgers basketball? Are you a season ticket holder? Or are you covering the team for rivals, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm a season ticket holder. Richie could get me press credentials. I can't turn my fan mode off. And I went to the media scrimmage, and even being like, oh my God, like when a big dunk would happen, I was the only one reacting, and it's just like, oh, I don't care. Okay.
Even Alec knows how to. Alec is he's all professional, and I'm like, I'm a professional guy. But then
you say this as I am slow motion replaying a gritty by Ethan Calic-Manis in the video game.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be doing the gritty on press row.
Yeah, you
This,
wouldn't
you
do
know,
this in front of Jerry Carino.
Mike might be doing the gritty, like if something good happened on Friday. I want to see that. Where do you sit? Where are your seats?
They're not great. I sit in 315.
Okay, I'm in 304, but I'm row D or row C. I forget which one. So I'm low down there, which is
Yeah,
nice.
I'm in the atmosphere of the stadium. I can almost touch the rafters. So yeah.
Are you last row or not last row?
I think I'm like second to last row.
Oh, okay. Because if you're gonna be out there, I like that last row and having no one behind me that you can like stand up. That's always a good.
So the other thing I didn't realize is like you get some back support with the back wall too. Which it's funny because I have 2 tickets and I bring my girlfriend to like as many games as she's willing to put up with. And so we went to the scrimmage the other night and she's just like, if we had these seats for the entire season, I would come to every game.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, of course you would. We're sitting 4 rows up from the court, like center court.
Yeah,
like anybody would love these seats.
We're down there with our friends Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, just hanging out. You know? So yeah.
And she's like, "How much would these seats cost?" I was like, "Do you really want me to like do the math on this?"
A lot of it is also you have to have like had them for 30 years, right, to like sit down there. But also like it costs a lot
because it's not even the cost of the seats; it's how much you've donated collectively that year to even qualify to buy the seats.
Right. There was one thing I wanted to say and I completely lost it. Oh, so you'd be behind me. I have like a dream of somehow forcing Rutgers to put backs on the seats in the 300 level, or to raise the money for it. I have like a dream of making this happen someday. So you as a fellow 300s ticket holder, you would be behind me, I assume, on getting backs on these seats.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
100%.
Like, come on, it's time. Like it's time.
Yeah. And it would clearly define like where the seats are. Cause sometimes people like to be a little funny about where their assigned seat is on the bleachers.
You got good people in front of you. That's important. I got a jumper in front of me. It's kind of tough.
The people in front of me were like selling every seat last year. I feel like because it was different Big Ten fans of different colors each week and colors of shirts and shit like that. Not anything else, but there's actually somebody on the Discord I found out. Clashawn sits right next to me. I don't know his
the big Discord, not the Rutgers Sports Outsider Discord, the Rutgers Fan Club Discord, formerly referred to as Geo Baker's Discord, but it's no longer Geo Baker's Discord.
It's not Geo Baker's Discord because he lost his login credentials apparently. So
it's my Discord now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's now. Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? I mean, it's you and it's who are the mods? You, Adam, and who is that? It? Who else are the mods
that are still active? I believe.
Right. Yeah. Well, there was Kyle, and he's not around, right? He was one of the guys, right?
Yeah, not really.
Or no,
I haven't heard from him in a while. Yeah, well, Kyle was one of them, yes, but I haven't heard from him.
Yeah, that's what I meant. One of the mods. Yeah. All right. So I think we're done. I think that was a successful episode. We had Kevin Fine on earlier. I had meant to ask James Cratch to come on for his first edition of Kooky Cratch, where Cratch fixes sports, but I just completely forgot to message him. So maybe we can get to that next episode. We've got the RU Screw Pod recording something on Friday. I don't know what that's going to be. That might not be live. I don't know if we're going to do that live, but we will be recording something. And I'm excited. We got basketball season coming up. I have a much easier time, and I have much more fun talking about basketball. For me, football is like about all the stuff around football, like the tailgating and like the kind of all that stuff. Whereas the game, it's just so hard to analyze. And I know I keep saying that over and over again, but it's just I find football so difficult to analyze. And I feel like when I do give analysis, I feel like I have no confidence in it because it goes back to the whole idea of I have no idea how hurt anyone is or how much money anyone makes. So how am I supposed to evaluate any of it? But basketball season coming up. I look forward to recording some stuff. You'll be at the games. I'll be at the games. Mike will be. People will. I don't know. I have grand plans for what I want to do. We've got Jersey Jam coming up. Jersey Jam to Rutgers basketball not playing in it, but I have committed apparently to going, which is 2 weeks from this Friday in Trenton to see not Rutgers basketball play at the Cure Insurance Arena. See if everything's on the up and up this year. Make sure they've got hot dog buns.
Why are you doing this?
I might have to show up. I might have to show up too.
Yes.
Let me check my because I am doing. Am I producing for? See, I have. I am. Oh, well, I
you might have a high school football thing.
No, I will be. I will be all the way back at the Jadwin Gymnasium producing that game for the radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be listening to the game, just not in Trenton.
Who is playing in the Jersey Jam this year?
It's Princeton, Duquesne, Temple, and there's one more school that I'm forgetting. I think it's Princeton and Duquesne are playing in one game, and then Temple, and then another school in the other. Oh, Monmouth, that's who it is.
Okay.
So only 2 schools from New Jersey. I feel like the schools in the Jersey Jam should be from New Jersey, but like, okay.
Imagine LeBron James at the Cure Auto Insurance Arena watching his former high school teammate, Coach Duquesne.
Oh, that's right. It's what's his name?
Drew Boyce, I think his name is.
Drew Joyce, yeah.
Yeah.
LeBron would take like a helicopter, land on the roof. Like LeBron's not. LeBron, could you imagine? Oh man, the Jersey Jam. I can't believe I said I would do this.
Can you imagine if Bronny did stay in college one extra year and Rutgers plays USC at home this year? Can you imagine LeBron would have come to that game? Probably.
Do you remember that one rumor where it was like Bronny's considering Rutgers?
Yeah, that was.
I remember they offered him, right?
It was some like random. No, I don't even think they did. It was like some random Lakers site that was like, apparently Rutgers has been showing interest, but that was never going to happen anyways.
No, LeBron's people put it out there. They were trying to get Bronny to like a market more than a school, and he was never coming to Rutgers because they're an Adidas school. So that was just
exactly. I mean,
we never really talked about that, but see Adidas. I was never really a big fan.
No.
I don't know where we're going next. I don't know who's going to take us. Someone has suggested Skechers. I mean, who knows? I actually thought of having like a Twitter poll tournament of like what like brand we should go with.
Payless.
I mean, there's a million of them. You could do Payless, Aeropostale. You could do. We'll come up with a list. Maybe we can come up with a good list and maybe do one of like a Twitter poll tournament kind of thing.
I feel like
Stephen Barry's. We could do I feel like Night and Day might be producing the jerseys. I mean, who knows?
I was gonna say I would feel it would only be right if it's like actually an apparel company that's made like actual sporting apparel before.
Yeah. We have to make it. We have to cut it down because we could obviously make it any number of things. Okay, so we're done. Mike, thank you so much for on a whim here, just being here for 2 hours. That was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Alec drinking out of his souvenir cup, doing that.
Shout out Mark
we learned a couple of things today. We learned about what goes on in Greg Schiano's home when they hold on to the ball for the entire quarter. We learned that Bears don't have credit scores, and they're doing just fine.
Yeah. Pickle sandwiches are fire, and I'm apparently a pickle slut.
Oh, man. I feel it. I feel the pickle juice on my face. Okay, that's it. We're done here on Sports Radio 1766. Thank you for joining us, and we're done. End stream.
Bye.
Okay, cool. All right, guys.